Mm. Hello. Abuse is a spectrum. And people on Twitter can't fucking handle it. Because if abuse is a spectrum, then how are we going to dogpile someone? We're going to have to talk about things a bit of nuance. But hold on. Well, how can we enforce laws if abuse is a spectrum? My whole world is upside down. Nothing makes sense. I can't understand anything. How am I supposed to make sense of the world if we're supposed to think it's things at a spectrum? How am I supposed to? I could even be an abuser myself if abuse is a spectrum. Yeah. You have to think a little bit harder. And you know what? Abuse is a legal term. And once you meet the threshold of abuse for which law needs to get involved, now we call you an abuser. And until that point, you are not an abuser, but you can still be abusive and you can still abuse people. Just because you're not an abuser doesn't mean you can't be abusive. Really simple, like fundamental basics for being able to self-analyze, be critical of yourself, grow, be able to have healthy relationships, just a fundamental basic necessity. People on the internet aren't having it. I don't think people on the internet are trying to have healthy relationships, at least not on the internet. So go figure. Okay, let's get. I'm gonna hop on Tom's stream. He invited me. I'm guessing it's to talk about that. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Platform and helping him like become more popular or spread his ideas or anything like that. It's a bit different. Smith,
What's up?
how's it going, man?
Good. I'm gonna turn my camera on.
Couple minutes late, so.
Can you see my camera? Can you see me?
No. It's
No,
all black.
Weird.
Can't.
All right, I've got to. There you go.
Nice. There you go. Let me set my stuff up. How you doing?
Good. So there was a good panel the other day. I like your moderating. It's pretty good.
Thank you. What do you like about my moderating?
You have, when you give input, it's like there's different moderators. Like there's Fanatic, who's like, as far as not moderators go, he's like a fucking authoritarian, like, no, you talk now. And then you got moderators who don't do shit, and then the panel is just pure chaos, but you're in the middle zone there. So, and the things that you had to say were added to the discussion, made things more interesting. So you've got
Thank you.
The formula down, I think.
Angela Knight. Angela, if you want to come hang out tonight, I was just about to send you a freaking invite. So yeah, if you want to jump on tonight, that would be awesome. Yeah, I think it turned out to be good content. I think Destiny posted it on his second channel, but it seemed to get like a lot of views. So I was a little frustrated because you obviously disagreed with them on what sex work was, and then Lauren kept saying she wanted everybody to define sex work. So at one point, I kind of like go to Destiny and I'm like, hey, how do you define sex work? He said that's a boring question. Like I don't really care about that. That's a boring question. But then in his closing statement, he was like, dude, I don't even know what these people think sex work is. I don't even know what the conversation is. So like, what? Yeah, no, duh. That's why I wanted you to define sex work, bro.
Yeah. Did you see my Twitter shit just now?
No.
Okay, I
What's
got
your
to Scott.
Twitter
Just I thought this way because the last time you invited me to talk, it was after I got into a fucking Twitter war, and so I just got into a fucking Twitter war because I said, and it's the same issue, which because I was trying to talk. I was saying that we're all a little bit abusive sometimes in our relationships. That's basically what I posted, in more or less words, and then everybody fucking can't handle it, and it's the same issue, because I'm trying to talk about abuse as a spectrum. And I was trying to talk about sex work as a spectrum. You can be barely a sex worker, but you're kind of sex work, and you can be barely abusive, but you're kind of abusive. But I've tried to make it clear, like, there's a point at which you are an abuser. And I'm not trying to water down that. That's a legal term. Like, once you're an abuser and the law needs to get involved in shit. But up until then, all the way up until then on the spectrum, you can be abusive a little bit. You can have an abusive habit. Like you could have a habit like your partner enjoys a certain type of music, and you always tell them that you hate that music in a way that makes it impossible for them to enjoy it. You have killed their enjoyment. Can you go to court and say my partner's abusing me? No, but that's abusive. You've ruined their ability to enjoy their favorite thing.
Like, I don't mind saying that abuse is on a spectrum, but generally, like, we have to, when we say something's abusive, it comes with a moral condemnation. Like, and you can't just ignore that moral condemnation and add in things that are actually okay. You can't just like call things abusive that have no moral condemnation added to them. They have to actually be bad.
Yeah.
What's up, Warren?
I'm actually saying the things that I think are abusive are morally condemnable. It's just like some of them aren't bad enough to like step in. Like, if you're fine with your partner ruining your ability to enjoy your favorite band, have at it. I mean, that sucks. But if they have enough things like that,
but we wouldn't say that's wrong. Like, that might suck, but we wouldn't say that's wrong, morally wrong, or morally condemnable.
I think it is. It's not condemnable, but it's like it's one step down a road
for something to be wrong.
It's one step down a road that leads to condemnation. So you do that, and then you also, another very, very, even less abusive. Every time your partner washes the dishes, they do a shitty job, and you get fucking pissed. You're like, there's shit on all the fucking dishes. Every time you get really pissed. I'm sure there's a lot of couples that have that. That's kind of normal. Add that to the list of things. Now you're closer.
Okay, now, hey Lauren, you have
they should
audio?
Wash the dishes better then. If there's shit on them every time.
Yeah. But like,
so you're calling one partner abusive or pointing out that the other partner actually makes a mess continuously and does it every time.
No, they're abusive if I was trying to describe a situation where like you get furious. So so it's been this way for months, and they're not doing better at doing the dishes. You're just really screaming at them every day about it. So it's obvious two things are true here. They suck at doing the dishes, and you are like, you have anger problems. You know what I mean?
I don't think there's anything that's immoral that we wouldn't say is condemnable. Like, all things that are immoral are condemnable. That's kind of like the basis of something being immoral, is that it is condemnable. So to say, well, it's not condemnable, but it is wrong, it is abusive, that doesn't fit. Like, in order for it to be abusive and wrong, it has to be condemnable as well.
Okay. Because it's a spectrum that I'm talking about, I only condemn things that meet a certain threshold on the spectrum. But I think that the behaviors I'm talking about are bad, and I would advise people to try to like grow and not do those things, because I consider them on the spectrum that leads to condemnable abuse. it's not healthy. You should introspect and try to grow and try to improve upon these things. And so if we can talk about it like a spectrum, we're that much closer to being able to grow.
I don't mind the spectrum, but the spectrum should start where we start calling something abuse. It should start with something immoral. It should start with something condemnable.
I think it's immoral to scream at your partner every time. Like it's not immoral to point it out, but like if you scream at the top of your lungs every time they do a bad job at the dishes, like that's immoral.
You said that there's a spectrum, certain things you'd consider bad, but not condemnable. The definition of condemn is to express strong disapproval of, or to pronounce a judgment against. So if you're calling something bad, then you are condemning it.
Sure.
So
I tend to, by that definition, I'm condemning it. I usually use the word condemn when I'm like willing to put my foot down, and like just because I think something's bad doesn't mean I'm willing to put my foot down. But so that's why I didn't say it. But by what you said, it's condemnable.
Okay.
Well, so I think that's
but
where
you
a lot
put
of
your
people
foot down in what
condemn.
sense? Like you wouldn't allow your partner to do it? We're talking about like relationships, right?
Okay, if I am
Well,
screaming
so tell her about the original tweet. If she didn't hear that, then
I
tell
didn't
her
hear
what you.
it.
Yeah,
The
tell
original
her how
tweet,
we started this conversation.
I just said, okay, I can find it, but I just said that. Is my phone nearby? No, it's not. I don't know where it is. I'll just fucking find it. I have a lot of these tweets. I tweeted about it a lot. Let's just look at the original. Okay. My original tweet. All relationships are kinda abusive. Some are just abusive enough that it crosses a line. Anything below a legal threshold can be very subjective. It's important to discuss abuse at this level, but it's important not to demonize people in these conversations because it's all of us.
I feel like you're really minimizing actual abusive relationships with that tweet.
Okay, here's the thing. Never mind. Just say what. Continue. I don't think I am. I don't think I am. This is.
Of course.
This is.
That's why you
This. Well, I was gonna say something stupid, and I was like, "That's not a good way to say this." This is the problem. This is the problem that happens with me a lot. And there was people, because I was saying, especially because I'm talking about the abuse thing. People were like, "You're just saying this because you're simping for Max," and I'm like, you realize that the reason that I'm a Mr. Girl Orbiter is because I agree with him on some things. I don't agree with him on some things because he manipulated me. I chose to be an orbiter of him so this is, I think of things in spectrums. It's just and when you do that, and when you have, there's a clash that happens once in a while where same thing in the sex work conversation, like Wick was saying, he thinks it's stupid when people will start saying that, like, to some extent, being like a bartender is sex work because it like minimizes what actual sex work and stuff is. But I'm not trying to minimize that. I'm just trying to look at it like you're a little bit a sex worker, you're a little bit abusive, and then more and more it's a gradient, it's a spectrum. I'm not trying to minimize things by trying to add that. I don't think so. You do, but then I understand.
I mean,
I think it's a really good point to say.
Anything else? So like abuse is a legal standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you were to say it's a kind of battery. Like it's a little, every person commits a little battery, and technically, like when you bump someone on the shoulder, like, so are you
say things are verbally abusive, right?
Or every person commits a little. I mean, if you really want to go a little bit of grape, I mean, that's not true. But then if you put it on a spectrum and you try to minimize it, I just don't like to minimize actual legal criminal offenses.
I think you can talk about abuse from a moral standard, though. Like, talking about verbal abuse is going to be a bit different than talking about like physical abuse, right? There's there is like a colloquial understanding of abuse versus the legal standard.
I was on a WIC panel about this topic a long time ago, and I didn't get so much of a backlash about it then. But me and what was her name? I forget.
Yeah, just for the people who just got here, most everybody else is going to be jumping on in like 20 to 30 minutes, so lots of them are going to be a bit late.
Something Pickles, Nora Pickles.
Okay.
Is that her name? I don't. No.
Anyway, what about her?
Anyway, I'm getting her name wrong. She's got like 20,000 followers on Twitter and stuff. She's not like some like random person that was agreeing with me, but me and her very strongly agreed about, because she said that she was both abusive and in an abusive relationship. And if you're unable to talk about the small ways in which you're abusing people, then it's going to get worse and worse. And the small ways in which you're being abused, it's going to get worse and worse until it meets that threshold. And if you want to prevent relationships from becoming abusive, you have to be able to be open and dissect these things. It's also the way people talk about it in therapy.
I think there's a lot of things that people sometimes discuss in therapy that isn't all that helpful sometimes. I think that focusing on what people refer to as microaggressions and looking at every little thing a person does in a nefarious light is a really negative way to go through life.
But I'm not... Yeah, but you're the one saying that. I'm not saying that. I don't think that if you scream at me for not washing the dishes good, I don't think that's nefarious. I just think you're like, we should talk about it because like it's making my life worse. Maybe I should work on washing the dishes and you should work on your anger, and then we can move, have a conversation and move forward.
And what if I work on my anger and I continue to work on my anger and you never work on washing the dishes and then I snap again? Once, are you going to call the cops and say that I'm abusive?
No, but it's going to have a detrimental impact.
Why not? Aren't I abusing you at this point?
It's going to have a detrimental impact on our relationship. And if you do enough
but that
more
would be
things,
your fault for not cleaning the fucking dishes. Like if
right.
if I
like me doing the dishes. First of all, if the only thing that makes me do the dishes is getting like violently screamed at, that's not a good way to have a relationship in the first place.
Well, maybe the reason that you're doing the dishes is because I work all day and I pay for everything and I work like 12 hours a day and I come home and all you're supposed to do is keep the house clean and put dinner on the table, and the one thing that you don't do is keep the house clean. And you can't put dinner on the table because the dishes are always flipping dirty. And so I'm hangry now, and I've been working on my anger management, which also takes time out of my day. Okay.
Well, me doing a bad job at the dishes is also hurting our relationship, but they both can be hurting our relationship. So couldn't you say you doing a bad job at the dishes is abusing me? You're abusing me with your shitty job. I'm dish doing.
Where's that on the spectrum?
No, I wouldn't say that I'm abusing you, but I would say that I'm not doing a good job at taking care of you or doing my responsibilities.
Yeah, you're not doing your responsibilities, and I would say that you're abusing me. And I think it's abusing me that you don't accept
I think that what you're doing now is minimizing abuse, but that's actually not what I'm doing.
I think that you calling my abuse minimization of abuse abusive, and I just feel like this.
You're just so attached to seeing it as a black and white thing that you use any tactic you can. You'll straw man the shit out of me blatantly, and then you'll just do whatever you can so that you can be a Sith and deal in absolutes. Well, let me tell you, buddy, I'm trying to deal in some fucking nuance, okay?
Now you're calling me stupid?
No,
really
I said
good at
you're a
that, I'm
Sith,
not gonna
not
lie.
stupid.
Right now, 'cause now the girls are gonna
All the
think,
simps in my audience are getting really upset now. Angela, I can barely hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it still bad now? Testing. 1,
It's
2,
getting
testing.
better.
Better?
getting better.
I'll turn up the volume. I'll crank this bitch up if I need to.
There you
I'm
go.
not
There
sure-
you go.
Is that better?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Solid. Were we talking about the whole Jonah Hill thing? Because I was completely lost.
No,
where
we,
that came
we were
from.
probably going to get into that at some point, but he was saying that he thinks all relationships are abusive and all people in their relationships are abusive to some extent, and that
Yeah.
abuse exists on a spectrum, and so everybody, even if it's some sort of minimal type of abuse, it's still abusive, and that this is something that you should work on.
And demonstrate.
I don't know. I think that people confuse the word abuse with like neglect. Maybe neglect would be a better word. I think we can
That's not a
neglect
bad word.
relationships. We don't.
That's not a
I
bad
don't
word.
know. I think we're like. I
The
feel like
reason-
no. Go ahead.
there is like technical legal distinction between the two words, but they're often criminally charged the exact same. So even if there is like a technical distinction, they usually have, at least in the state statutes that I've looked up, they tend to have the same consequences.
Okay, hold on now. Okay, you just fucked up. Okay, because you just said because I wasn't aware of this. So neglect is apparently a legal standard. So if neglect is a legal standard, but we're comfortable watering that down, so that we can avoid watering down abuse. So now we're still watering down a legal standard. We're like now we're making it okay to neglect people because we're watering it down. I'm sorry to be so harsh on Angelina Knight because I'm really not. You were
Just
the one who said
Angela.
that, Angela.
Just
But,
Angela. Yeah.
But I was mostly arguing with what is your name?
I'm
Lauren.
Lauren.
Meet you.
Yeah, I was arguing with her, and then you got in the middle of it. So I'm not, but yeah.
Wait,
so
weren't
I
you
think-
guys just on the panel together?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't.
Am
I'm
I
not-
crazy?
yeah, we were.
Okay. All right. Not memorable at all, I guess.
No,
I
I like
guess.
Nora. She's
Yeah.
got some interesting perspectives. You're not like a cookie cutter like everyone. You have some interesting, unique thought. You're
you
worth
say
talking
Nora?
to.
Nora?
Laura,
Lauren. Yeah.
Lauren, whatever.
Lauren.
I'm really bad with names. Like really
Whatever.
bad.
This is neglect. Do you guys see that? That's
Yes,
neglect right
this is
there.
neglect.
This is neglect?
Lauren.
Yeah, we're-
Really confused right now? This is more than a neglect. This is active abuse. Okay. The
Okay.
distinction between neglect and abuse is just an omission. So with neglect, you need to have a duty to do something and then omit to do it. And then with active abuse, you actually have to do an act of abuse. So for instance, with neglect, you could have a duty to your child and then you neglect them by neglecting to feed them, by not doing that. And that would be still that would be abuse. And in certain states, it's the same, like you get similar, you either get the same or just a slightly lesser charge for neglect than abuse, but it's still abuse and you still get criminal charges. So.
Fair. All right. Well, I have nothing to say about that. I mean, maybe I'm just ignorant. Like, I would assume in my mind, like, abuse is like actively premeditating, just like on the actual action of being abusive. I guess neglect is like, oh, it's working up to abuse. Like, that's how I view it as. Maybe it's just my modern ignorant brain breaking it down in that way. So I'm not saying it isn't bad. I think most relationships, people tend to neglect the obvious, which is like emotional, verbal, and then, it progresses into people being physically abusive. But I would say it starts off quite neglective when you're not knowledgeable of the other person or just yourself. So that's what I would say it as.
I don't know
Weird.
if there is any duty to your partner to treat them with emotional well-being. Like, so in order to be neglectful, you have to have a duty of care.
But I think that when you choose to be with somebody, shouldn't there be a
Not
responsibility.
legally.
Not
Yeah,
legally, but I guess
not legally, but that's where I'm saying. So I think that we do have that duty, and it should not be legally enforced. We can't have the fucking cops come and say you're a bad boyfriend. Like, no, but like
abuse is legally enforced. Like if I abuse
Right.
my partner, like
But-
physics. So that's
But I'm trying to make a distinction where you can not be an abuser, but you're still being abusive.
so you're just saying what everyone should morally do. Well, everyone morally should just be perfect all the time and treat everyone with kindness and eat their vegetables and
I'm saying
don't do drugs.
no,
Never vape. Never
I'm-
vape.
I'm not
Do
saying
any of
that.
that.
I'm just saying that we are. I think we can't avoid being abusive, and we should try to be thoughtful and self-reflect when we are. That's all.
Why do you want to label shortcomings in human relationships as abuse?
Real
Um,
quick, PF Young, we're talking about the fact that everybody in relationships are abusive. So I got to run to the restroom. I'll be right back.
He
Literally,
thinks everyone
What?
in every relationship is abusive to a certain degree.
yeah. It's a spectrum. Some people are really close to none, but and some people get to a point where now you're legally an abuser and you need like someone to get involved.
Isn't abuse
But
a
some
legal
people-
term?
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly
but it's
what I'm
also
getting at.
it's also a psychological like a term that like so the conversation you're going to have in a courtroom about abuse is going to be very different from the conversation you're going to have with a psychologist or a therapist about abuse. And I'm trying to use the language of therapy and like emotional or relationship dynamics. And I feel like online people if the thing that you're sacrificing really is the ability to dogpile someone or demonize someone, if you're because just talking about that does not take away the legal definition. It you're not having these nuanced conversations does not change the law, and I don't think it should. But so I think the only thing it takes away is people's ability to dogpile people and jump down people's throats on Twitter and shit. Good riddance. You need that shit.
I mean, I understand, like in therapy or whatever, you might use, I feel like this is an abuse of some kind, or an abuse of power is like a metaphor. It's not a legal term, but like if I say, well, someone abused their wife or someone abused their child, like that draws a very specific image in mind. And I don't know.
It does.
What is the point? What is the point
okay,
of?
Here's the point.
You
Here's the
put
point.
something on Twitter. Can you read your tweet again?
The tweet is what I've been saying. The tweet is what I've been saying. I want to just tell you the point, okay? The point, because the reason everybody fucking the reason that I'm making this distinction, the point of doing it is because there's a context which you're going to use the legal sense, and that's like 100% appropriate and true, and you need that. But there's also a context where we can self-reflect and say, you're being abusive, I'm being abusive, and try to like grow as a person. And we are sacrificing one of those.
I feel like it's not as healthy to describe it as abuse if it's like
Right.
interpersonal conflict. Because then it's like, well, why are you using the same term that refers to people like beating their wives? Like maybe if we want to resolve this interpersonally, we use there's some friction or you're being disengaged or you're being overbearing or something like that. Like there's many different words. So of all the words that we'd have, could use for what you're describing, probably not the legal term would be best, in my opinion. Is this all in the context of Jonah Hill? What is
A little bit.
I assumed because I assumed when I heard abuse, okay, this is whatever there's all kinds of Twitter bullshit about Jonah Hill being abusive of some kind.
Right.
Or allegedly, I don't know. The
boundaries he set, I think, are kind of abusive. I don't think he should go to jail. I don't honestly, I'm really unsure how I feel about this stuff being a public conversation because I don't really think it rises to that level. But it is abusive. I think, but since it is, it should be noted, like what he's doing isn't healthy. We should try not to be like that with our partners. This is not healthy dynamic.
Yeah.
And I understand
Sorry,
why
I
she
don't-
felt that way.
I
Okay,
don't,
I cannot.
uh,
I don't know any relationship that's perfect. I really
Me either.
don't.
That's what I'm saying.
And I wouldn't. But then again, I wouldn't. I know very few relationships that are abusive. And so for you to call every single relationship abusive, that's why I believe it minimizes true abuse. I understand what you're saying is that we need to be able to talk about abuse on all levels so that we could address even small levels of abuse.
Yeah.
However, I don't think by labeling it a term like abuse, something so heavy, that necessarily brings more attention to it or solves the issue. I think there's ways to solve relationship issues, especially minor ones, without
Talking about
labeling it so drastic. No, you could talk about it, but to
I'm
label it abuse.
strawmanning you.
Can
I'm
we?
just fucking with you.
Sorry, Lauren, I believe I've seen you is somewhere. I don't recall something Thorpe adjacent at one point. I think I saw one clip of. I won't even go into that. That's the only. But I don't know anyone on here. So can we do introductions for people who are coming around and what everyone's
know you.
background is? So
I know you from Farscape.
You know me?
I know you from Farscape. You look exactly like the main actor from
what is
this
it?
the TV show called Farscape. I watched it as a kid. It's like you look exactly
Farscape?
like this guy and
You
sound
mean
like him.
Dawson's Creek?
Yeah,
Farscape.
I think so. Is that a person?
You don't look like Dawson's Creek.
I don't look like James Vanderbeek. I get
No.
that's the most common comment on my videos. Besides,
Really?
I get told I
Um,
look like Adam
I do
Sandler.
like
Varsity
Yeah.
Blues, Varsity Blues, and Dawson's Creek. Centrist James Vanderbeek.
That's fine.
But what are each? Who are you guys? How would you guys introduce yourself to?
My name's Tom.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Tom.
Hey.
Nice to
Welcome
see
to
you
AA,
again.
Tom. Nice to meet you.
Smith, what's your?
And I am an addict.
What's your thing? What do you do? What is your?
I am streaming and I'm
What is your reason for being here?
making videos. My reason for being here is to tell you that abuse is nuanced. And
Yeah, that was
it's a
sorry. That was a
spectrum.
bad quote. What is your reason for being here? Sounds too hostile. What do you do? What do you talk about in your world? What are your
Stuff
interests?
like that. I like to talk about like relationship dynamics, and I like to talk about abuse as a spectrum thing that pisses everyone off, and I like to talk about I don't know. I like to talk about like automate a video about autogynephilia.
Nice. All right. All the hot topics. I mean, autogynephilia is not a totally irrelevant issue, especially to like the gender issues and stuff.
Yeah.
Lauren, you're a lawyer or something, or what is your?
I'm not yet an attorney. I'm waiting on character and fitness, but I passed the bar.
You have to take a fitness test to be a lawyer.
Yeah, so
Congratulations.
many push-ups. It's crazy. Yeah, wild.
What?
Wild. Yeah. So but in the meantime, I'm just doing content creation. I'm interviewing a lot of people. I'm going on streams. Last night I spoke to Nick Fuentes. And I'm Jewish, so that was interesting.
Must have went well.
Yeah, it was fine. Talk to him again tomorrow because actually the lights went out. Kind of crazy. Like,
Oh, interesting. You should take him out for chicken and waffles. That has gone well in previous interactions with Nick Fuentes.
You talked to Nick yesterday
Yeah,
on the Fresh and Fit thing?
Mhm.
Oh,
I
you're
didn't
on Fresh
see you.
and
I
Fit?
watched some of it. I watched like the
Wow.
beginning debate about the JQ
Yeah.
for a while. I didn't get that far in.
Did I just
Obviously on the after party. Mhm.
walk into a panel of like celebrities? Like you guys are on Fresh and Fit and stuff. What's
Not me.
Do you know who
who,
Yeah,
Angela
so-
Knight
Angela?
is also on Fresh and Fit.
No. See, I was just like, no, I wasn't.
Oh.
I'm,
You are. What are you?
I'm barely like a citizen in America. I just got like my citizenship like last week. So I
Nice.
don't even know how I ended up
Congrats.
here. Yeah, no, right? I'm surprised. I know, right?
From where? Where
Listen,
are
do
you
not
Canadian?
listen to her. She is making
like
this stuff
from
up.
intensive
you?
reading to being on Tom's panel. Like I don't even know how I got here. This is amazing. So yeah, I sometimes talk about relationships, but you know, I graduated from the red pill community. I'm in community college now. And now we're here with you guys talking about real relationships outside of men simping on hoes that they absolutely hate yet want to sleep with them. And that's pretty much
I
it.
still do that. I still do that.
This is
Also,
Ivy
FYI,
League here. I don't know what you're
hold
talking
on.
about. This is
Yeah,
Ivy
yeah.
League, not
Just-
community college. Okay.
Hold on, real quick note on the I have it. Anyone who's intelligent should have infinitely more respect for anyone who goes to community college than wastes their fucking money and goes $150,000 in debt for like a 4-year degree. I have friends who are for life going to be paying that shit back because since fucking
Yeah, they
birth we were
also
lied to.
make more than every freaking buddy that went to
No, they
community
don't.
college.
No, they don't.
Yes,
Depends
they
what
do.
majored in.
Not my friends. Yeah, not if you major in fucking communications or whatever
Fine
else
art.
fucking English bullshit. Yeah.
Oh, fun fact
Freaking
about community college.
So anyone, my former boss at my last company, she was a director of like a department and never went to college. I'm like, I respect you infinitely fucking more. So don't ever
Don't go
shit
to
on
college.
community college. Don't go to Kamal. If you're gonna go to community college for 2 years, and then maybe on your last 2 years, go get your undergraduate somewhere with it.
I have a degree in
Title.
fine arts. I think that if you really want to learn how to paint, you should go to like a painting academy. You'll get all the same education, way more focused in like a 1 year. And the degree is useless. And with like art, it's like you're actually there for the education, so that you're paying for something that's completely fucking useless. And it's sad to say that, but I got gypped. I did go to community college for all my
College
general
should go to
education,
fucking
though.
home. That's smart. That's what you should
I
do.
kind of feel like my degree's a little worthless too.
Well, you have a lot. Well, I was gonna. The exception are technical degrees like law
No,
or
I have a
medicine.
math degree as well.
You have a what degree?
Mathematics.
Math.
Yeah.
Cool.
Does that ever come up in law?
Nope. It's completely useless. How often do you need any calc?
I dated
Wow.
a
And I
mathematician.
Well beyond calc. Like so far beyond. And I will.
I have a minor degree in gender studies.
Beautiful. You could actually use that though, because you could go to
Oh, I do-
college, teach
Oh.
kids. Yeah, you can make good money going to
Well,
businesses and teaching about not
Grifting.
abusing one another with micro abuses. I think you should get into that business.
yeah,
You could just write documents like me and let them all use it in their classes for free and just get nothing out of it. Yeah.
it's
Loves
called charity.
Apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, I left my
I
last
have
company
a,
because they were too
fake
weird
degree
with all the
still on
DEI
my
stuff.
hands. Fuck. Sorry, I think there's a lag. I don't know. I hate talking.
Yeah,
over
you're kind of choppy. Your thing like freezes.
my
at least on
router
my end.
is in China or something. Who knows? It's still getting that shipped over here.
I hate when that happens.
It's rough. It's
Yeah.
brutal.
No, you PF Young, you know who she is. You saw the whole thing where MLD walked off the stage because there was an Asian woman just like ripping into him.
Who's MLD?
Okay,
No, wait,
never mind.
I saw
Never
that
mind.
video.
Never
I
mind.
saw that video. Was that you?
You
MLD.
That
reacted
is
with
her.
Destiny.
I reacted to that video. That was great. I loved you. I loved you. You were fucking on it. Good
Is
on
that
you for,
Myron? Myron MLD?
No.
Who's
MLD?
MLD?
Like, he's some
Modern life
conservative
dating.
dude who wanted to he was in her chat at some point earlier before the stream, you fat
On another
bitch.
show.
Basically called me fat. It was just
Oh,
some
I've seen this
childish-
guy.
But
Yeah, he was the
trolls do
Endure
all the
guy.
time. Yeah, trolls do it all the time. It's different when you have a check mark next to your name and you're in mutuals with people that I know, and I'm like, okay, this is just ignorant, and you're not. I don't think it's very masculine to do something like that. I think women, we chatter all day long, we gossip, we talk shit. It's a very feminine thing to do. But when men do that, and then you sit and say it's cringy. I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't really think
do
that's a
that.
very masculine thing. So
I agree. I never.
Yeah,
do that.
when a blue
Yeah.
check mark
Also,
does
how do
that,
you have
it's
the
like your next week is
Yeah.
booked with people, telling you you're fat,
it's kind of lame. Yeah.
And then
So-
the worst part was him just not owning up to it. So she calls him out for it in front of everybody, and he's like, "Nope, wasn't me." It reminded me of the Shaggy song. So we caught her on the counter. Wasn't me. He just could not fucking own it. It was great. It was hysterical.
No, I saw you on the whatever pod. I had no idea who you were, but you looked like some innocent white girl chilling there. I mean, you look in the whole, fit. And what'd you say to Brian? That shit was hilarious. You like called him like a 3 or something, and I was cackling. I was like, I can't cope with this right now. This is ridiculous. And I don't think he
he's a
wants to
good-looking dude too. Like I remember that. That's right. He's a
I don't
good-looking dude.
know. Is he?
Brian's a good-looking dude. Yes.
Maybe on camera, but you haven't seen him in real life, and I would say that's
I haven't seen him in real life. Does he have like a big belly or something? What's it? What
He
does
has
that
a
mean?
couple
What's
of
wrong
things.
with that, Tom? Would that make someone less attractive if they have a big belly?
I think that when he has the type of standards that he has,
That's pretty fucked up.
that's the problem. I think that he names these outrageous like standards for women, like low body count, like just innocent and like impressionable and outgoing but not outgoing. And I'm like, you name a lot of personalities that you yourself don't have, considering the posture that he sits in 90% of the time in the show and in real life. And I could go into detail, but it seemed like I'm body shaming, which I will happily challenge him on that. But I'm not going to do that to him because that's a man, and I have to respect my position as a woman because I'm not superior to men. So I'll accept it. That's fine. But I think it's pretty lame.
I'm kind of friendly with him. I think he's a nice enough guy, so I'm not gonna shit on him. I just thought it would be funny to call him a 3, and it was funny because we're still talking about it right now. So
How did
you
you
don't actually
guys?
think
I
he's
don't
a
like
3
people who aren't like consistent. I hate hypocrites. It's my biggest pet peeve. Like I think like when I see people being sneaky and shady, like if we sit here and say constantly this view is like men are logical, women are emotional. And I remember being on that panel with him and Sterling Cooper, and I brought up a valid point, and instead of them like, you know what, I didn't think about that, that's accurate, it was more so like deflecting and just like, well, that's why you don't bring them to America. And I'm like, that was like such a childish reply from 2 men who sat there who just tried to prove a point, and I just dismantled it ignorantly and still somehow did it. And I was just kind of like, wow, I've really lost respect for the more people I engage with in this space because they like to dunk on idiots. And then when somebody actually challenges on them, it's just like constant deflection, and then like, and then like the clips that they post, like modern men owns dumb feminists. The fuck? I was like, that's the clip you posted of me after my editor posted the sickest clips, and you didn't care to post that, you asswipe. Be fair about it. Is all I'm gonna say. That's why Tom is fair, and that's why we're here. So
Tom is fair, yes.
Tom is fair. So
Tom is fair.
Like Tom did a video also where I was like, oh no, where you did the MLD thing, and you're like, well, did he call her fat to her face or what? I was like, oh shit. So when Tom reached out to me, I was like, oh fuck, like I don't really think that you want to talk to me, bro. I don't think like this is gonna be compatible if you're coming in with bad faith. But like you were open about it, so then here we are. My thing is like come in with good faith, and if you hear something that's at least understanding, or if you're gonna agree, like be open about it. Like don't have ego. And I think a lot of them have ego, and it's really unattractive. So
how did you guys end up on Fresh and Fit? Did like Myron and them reach out to you, like Twitter DMs or something? Or?
No, they have a bunch of girls who do this stuff for them, and it's not even a privilege.
Do they
Like,
really?
Yeah, it's
sense.
Like people say like, classic. Oh, it's so lucky you're girls, but like they have their intentions of bringing women on there. Let's be fair, they want to dunk on people. They don't really expect the Trojan horse to be rolling on there to dunk on them. So majority of the time, it seems like a privilege, but I don't know. Unless you build a relationship with them, it takes like time. But for the most part, I personally don't. I didn't like my experiences on any of the panels. But then again, I'm the only Asian chick ever there, so never mind.
No, I don't know a ton of Jewish girls that go on these panels, but I still enjoy my time. Like I the way I see it, I see it differently. I used to see it as they're only bringing girls to dunk on them, and I do think that's part of it. But it's not just to dunk on women; it's to point out the problems in society that they're seeing, which is like this archetypal type of girl who is kind of a frequent archetype in our society that is being praised that maybe shouldn't be praised as much. And that's a valid point. That being said, when they do have women that they either agree with or disagree with who are able to articulate their points and aren't completely brain dead, they'll have them back. Like, I mean, I've been asked back to both of those shows. You've been asked back, I'm sure. And so it's like, I don't know. I don't think they're trying to just dunk on women.
I would have to say I say that mostly because I recognize that when there is pushback, like for example, when I was on there, it was more so like throwing me on the couch, and I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was being like, I don't really know what was going on. Like when I'm there and I'm trying to articulate a point, and then you go to do the little buzzer shit, then you have like 3 dumbasses in the background saying some extra shit. Like if it was me, if I was a guy talking to, let's say, the host, there'd be no disrespect back comment. There'd be no like buzzer sound in the midst of me trying to articulate a point. I think like majority of the girls there are not used to that chaos. And let's say like I'm aware of it because if you're a content creator, you are recognizing that these questions are so much like aha questions. And if you're not able to answer the questions, you're going to look like a complete dumbass because they want you to say yes or no for a really complex question. And I don't want to. And if I don't, it's like, oh, you're being so hard. You just answer the question. I'm like, but it's not a yes or no type of question. So from there, you could easily just get kicked out. And to me, it's like, all right, I'm not a combative person. So for me, sitting in these spaces, and if I'm not like aggressively asserting myself, it's like, what's your use of being there? You have to assert yourself. And
yeah,
I don't.
I'm a combative, aggressive person.
I'm not. Yes. So that's why you're asked, and I'm not. Like when I sit there, I'm like, if it's not like a circle conversation or like, you know, and there's too many people there, so you really have 2 seconds to answer a question. And if you're not confident, you could say some stupid shit. And it's mostly like as a girl hearing women talk now, I can understand what they're trying to say, but they're not able to speak it in a manner where those guys can receive it and just like, oh, have some sort of empathy. It's more so like, you're a dumb bitch. So that's how
let me ask you this. Can you agree with the point that they're trying to make? At least here's a couple of points. Women shouldn't always be hyping up other women and being like, you're a 10, slay queen, slay. And think, oh yeah, I'm a perfect 10 and I'm perfect. And all these men are beneath me. Do you think that mentality is a common mentality, a young women, and is problematic for society?
Yeah, I can't say yes or no. And the reason why I would say yes, I think that that's what people lean to when there's really nothing. I've encountered those types of girls. And I think that when you challenge them with empathy and logics, they're willing to understand and willing to change. Like this is all they have when they're young, which is to, you know, gas each other up and give each other compliments. Because in the men's world, it's very like, very black and white, very militant, very like you do your job, I'll do my job. There's really no empathy in the men's world. And that's how they get by. To a certain degree, that's why they get their job done, but they don't feel feelings. They shit on feelings, and these girls are solely on feelings. These girls are like,
I disagree. I have feelings.
What you acknowledge it?
Well, I think she's talking about like the red pill perfect world, like the thing that like they aspire for. They say is like the right way to be.
From their perspective. Well, then the part of the problem is the fact that they don't empathize or they don't talk about their feelings.
That's my problem with them. It's like they're addressing a problem that does exist, but they're prescribing this idea that it's only for, well, how to say this? It's their world, but they cover it for the mass. It's a blanket world. And if you challenge them, it's like, no, all women are this way. If you go to work, you're a dumbass. If you go to school, you're a dumbass. I'm like, well, who's stopping you from going to college? Because I'm curious as to why women are dominating and you're choosing to be a bum. And you're mad at us for not wanting to settle for the bum. And if you ask like any of them, like, would you want your daughter to settle for a bum? If he protected her, how can you protect me if you don't even know how to fight inflation? If you don't even know how to survive in this day and age, when you're complaining and saying that the world is oppressing you, when there's really nothing oppressing you, it's just your ignorant mindset. And that's how they view the world. That's how I view it, as like what they're saying about these girls being super crazy and super egotistical. Like, sure, but they also contribute to that. Those guys who sit there, who shit on those girls, who also make an effort to fuck them and subscribe to them and constantly inflate them and also beat them down while gassing them up. It's like a very toxic, abusive relationship from what I see with those.
They need girls to be stupid bimbos, or else like their whole ideology wouldn't work.
Let me ask you another question, though. Do you see an issue with the fact that a lot of the time, like Fresh and Fit's perfect example, they'll invite random girls on and a third to half of them can't name 3 countries?
Yeah, well, but that's the thing.
I invited, what's his name? Brian on to talk to him because every time somebody confronts him on this dichotomy of like, the way that the show's set up, that he'll invite like a bunch of Instagram models on just to dunk on them, he denies that that's the case. And it's like, what? No, we don't. That's not true at all. We just want to have a conversation. So I've invited him on because I would actually like to talk to him about that. There's no way you have a selection bias in the types of people that you're bringing on one side, where it's like Instagram models that have there's no reason to believe that they know anything about feminism. They know anything about politics. They know anything about dating. They're not going to know the stats. But then the other side of the table are a bunch of like red pill gurus who have a bunch of studies and their booklets with them, and they know like they have a bunch of followers who follow them for these types of topics. And so yes, like you're setting up a a thing where it's obvious you have the experts of one side and then the nobodies of another side to duel it out. If you actually wanted to have a real conversation, you would get people who knew what they were talking about on.
But he
both
brought Lav on, who I thought put up a pretty good
He
fight.
did.
And then and then Lila Rose is the other one. That whole clip of that one guy being like, I just want to say up front, I see someone said I'm triggered by you. I'm not triggered by you. I'm annoyed by you. It's like that I thought Lila Rose is, even though I disagree with her on some stuff. But
Lav
she's
I mean,
fine.
I
But
reviewed
that's
it
the
with
one with the
Lav, and
beret?
so many people thought she did
Is Lav
horribly.
the one
She
wearing
did
the
such a good
beret?
job.
Che Guevara,
Yes.
or what was it?
Yeah. Okay, I remember her. She did a really
Che
good job,
Guevara
and
or
she was a
something.
liberal.
She
liberal
was
talking
entertaining
point.
too. Like it wasn't
She
just.
was, yeah.
It wasn't just.
Well, she said some crazy stuff too.
Yeah.
She said some really wild stuff about like
Yeah.
all men are like rapists or something like that. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
I think
I didn't
reviewed
catch that part. So I
yeah, her and I
Like,
reviewed it together,
you
and there were
guys
so
would
many
agree.
people still crapping on her just because they don't like her, and they're like she did a good job, even though she has some crazy freaking beliefs. She really does. She says some wild stuff, and she's done some really messed up stuff to a lot of people as well. But in that debate, she did a good job, and so many people who hate her just still like trashed on everything that she said.
And didn't Brian invite her back? And Brian is nice to her and enjoyed the conversation with her. And I don't know, maybe it's wrong about inviting her back, but I don't see that being as disingenuous as you're making it out to be. And
Wait, I think
Brian's
like
not
as
as
we-
bad. Brian's not
I
as
think,
bad
like,
as
as we-
Fresh and Fit.
Yeah, well,
Oh, hold-
Brian is also
wait,
super
no, hold
simpy. So.
Wait, hold on. So yes, they invite on Destiny. They invite on Lav. They invite on a bunch of people
Okay.
like that. But
Fair.
by far the majority of the people that they're inviting on are Instagram models, right? So you'll have one person who knows what
that's
they're
what the
talking
audience
about.
want to see, hot Instagram models.
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
You don't deny that you're there to have a conversation, though. You don't deny that you're
Why
there.
can't
for
why
some
can't you have a
search of truth.
conversation with an Instagram model, Tom?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Or should I
So,
say
my big-
pig?
my
You
biggest
can
problem
have a
with, like,
Oink, oink, you
conversation.
pig.
He's denying that it's like a dichotomy set up to destroy them, to make them look bad. He's denying that that's the case, and that's obviously the case. If-
A lot of his show is saying that I'm against promiscuity and I'm against this specific lifestyle that these types of women tend to promote, especially if they're also on OnlyFans.
Right. So he
Okay.
invites the women that are like promoting the thing that he doesn't like. So he's kind of setting them up. He's not as bad like as Fresh and Fit, but they are set up to fail. Like
It's just content farming. That's all they're doing. And I
You're-
think like they can have a problem when you say that. Like, and it's like, here's the thing. They say that women who go to college are stupid as fuck, it's a stupidest degree, da 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 da. But then when I say, hey, you guys bringing some dumbass chicks on there, oh no, they're college educated women all over the states. We handpicked them. But you just said they're dumb as shit. And at the same token, they're smart as fuck because they have a college degree. People who have college degree doesn't mean they actually know how to debate and have civil discourse with people, especially in that type of setting. Those are two different things. And then when you bring it up, it's just like, oh no, you don't understand what we're trying to say. I'm like, listen, I don't give a fuck what you want to do. If you want to pop your pussy online, just be upfront about what your main goal is. Because when you say that you're a male empowerment, what are you empowering? Because with the couple of gurus that I've seen, I interact with them and I'm disgusted with how they carry themselves. And I'm like, be better than what the fuck you're selling. I think that's pretty lame. If you're going to sit here and say that you're teaching people to be better people, but you have poor people's skills and you're just being a hypocrite. That's just my thing.
This is like
I
saying
have,
I have some issues with chemotherapy, so I'm going to go get a bunch of cancer patients instead of a doctor. Or I don't like the way this engine runs, so I'm going to go get somebody who drives a car instead of somebody who's a mechanic. Like, you go get the person who actually knows what they're talking about in that scenario, the expert on the scenario, and somebody who can actually engage with you on the same level that you're trying to engage on. Not the person who's doing the OnlyFans, but the person who's like the feminist who's been fighting for the right to do the OnlyFans.
So you want like an OnlyFans anthropologist who's like studying
No,
the
a feminist activist.
models who is like the expert.
No, like Lav is a
Expert.
feminist activist. She's like, that's somebody who's good. Destiny is a feminist activist. That's somebody who's
Really,
good. You go get somebody
honestly,
who's
I think any girl
Destiny's a
who-
feminist activist.
I think any woman who asks to be on the show can basically get on the show.
I'm not denying that they can go on the show. I'm saying that they're denying that what they're setting up is a dichotomy where they are going to destroy those people. Like they are setting up, they got MLD, they got freaking like all of these red pill leaders on one side of the table and Instagram models on the other side of the table. If it was supposed to be some like even mix, they would go get like a choir girl for the other side of the table as well. But that's not what they're doing.
Most
to
of the
be
time, choir girls-
more charitable, Tom, instead of they're set up to destroy them, you could say they're setting them up to embarrass themselves. Say if you want to like grow a brand or something and you care about that and your image, and like you go on there early on, it could totally like destroy your trajectory. Like it could.
Maybe they're already embarrassing themselves, and he's just pointing a camera at it.
Well, that seems
Sure,
kind of
but
mean.
Tom, one of your people in your chat said that he thinks all girls should do OnlyFans.
Based.
So in the beginning, like the reason why I was saying like the joke behind it was like the graduation behind the whole red pill thing. I mentioned, I do believe that it does exist. The problems that they're presenting, it's just not a lifelong problem. I think they choose to sit in that oppressive mindset, of like everything being very materialistic, everything being transactional between men and women. But they create that. The guys do and the girls do. They both get into these types of relationships, and then they're mad that there's nothing beyond it. And the reason why I've like unplugged myself from it, it's because I can't have a civil conversation with any of these dorks with them throwing these insults and attacking and dogpiling. It's fine when they do it to girls, but if I do it to a guy and two other girls do it, they just cry. And I'm like, I just think it's kind of a bitch move. If you're a high value man, you should be able to back up everything you say with your eyes closed, your hands crossed. Why the fuck are you worried if 5 girls question you? There should be nothing. The truth does not have to be involved with you stuttering and being worried. I think like with women, if you're going to sit here and say that you're superior to women, that means majority of the time I'm talking, you're gonna have to decode what the fuck I'm saying because I probably don't know how to talk. And like if you have some sort of empathy as a host or anything, or as a man, and you can tell a lot of these guys don't have kids or women that they value in their life like a wife because they treat everything very.
They have 5 wives.
Yeah, I'm sure they're doing such a fantastic job because they had 5 wives. They definitely wouldn't be on a podcast talking about these types of girls. Like people who have real lives don't really inject themselves into these spaces like that. And I think like when you challenge them, if they try to normalize so many unhealthy habits, speaking to the masses, and I'm like, y'all are talking to wannabe high value men, and you're talking to a bunch of incels that you're creating. And it's just a really like toxic cycle from what I notice. To a certain degree, you have to recognize you have to unplug from it. And I think that they don't see that. They keep saying they're unplugging from the matrix, but they are creating another fucking matrix within itself. So that's how I view it as.
You don't think that they're helping people? You don't think incel type men are drawn to that kind of content because they're incels? And don't you think some of the advice, such as losing weight and trying to be more alpha and like more masculine, you don't think some of the advice that they give is genuinely trying to help them in like the relationships?
So what they're giving isn't some like magical profound. You can find it in a self-help book. Tony Robbins can tell you that. At the same token, not everybody's aimed to be like a muscle juice head guy. In their world, if you're not a muscle juice head fitness guru, you're a fucking loser. And to me, I have friends in all demographics. I have friends who are emo, anime friends, political spectrum, vice versa, everything. So not everyone's going to look like that. And I think, for example, I get booked calls all the times with people, and I have like one of the guys who will tell me like, dude, I make a lot of money. I'm somewhat attractive. I've done everything. I've done the pickup artist community shit. He's like, and I can't form a genuine relationship with a woman. He's like, I'm not really sure that this community actually helped me the way I thought. After 10 years, guys, like, I'm not going to expose who it is, but like 10 years being in the space and absorbing everything, the blueprint that they offer does not fit for everybody. And they make it seem like it does. And I'm like, listen, you guys are very good at preschooling to the basic steps of be healthy, find a goal. That's fine. But don't think that you're actually solving the world. Like, you're not solving this world issue. You're solving a very like minute issue of like this mindset where I grew up in like poverty. So when I see these problems, these types of girls, these types of guys, this transaction relationship, I recognize it is a thing. And I did resonate with that. But once you grow the fuck up, you start realizing you build meaningful relationships outside of that. It isn't just materials. It isn't just everyone's a hoe. It isn't because you have a 5 body count, you're a fucking loser. I think that's so lame to say that. And I think like, yes, girls shouldn't be selling themselves online. But at the same token, I'd rather a girl sell herself online than be in a relationship with some bum ass turd and have to like live a miserable lifestyle because they both don't know how to coexist with each other. Something has to give. And I think that unfortunately that is a route that these girls have taken, and I don't agree with it. But I don't think shaming is a healthy tactic. I think shaming is a heavy, like they talk about how the society has shamed men. it's so hard. We are here because society has shamed us. But what are they doing also? They're also shaming other people. So how is that a healthy cycle into teaching other people to be better? I think that's not a proper way to lead.
Plus, a lot of those guys that are getting shamed, like Destiny will go on there and they'll shame him for being like polyamorous and shit. But that doesn't make any fucking sense because like he's making it fucking work. Okay, so their shame is directed at people that like are probably actually, a lot of those people might have something going for them that they could benefit from, that they're being shamed because they don't appreciate the red pill. They have a certain value system, and I think that they're right. They're right that we have certain we value women in a certain way, we value men in a certain way at large, and just because they accurately point out what we value in people, but they saying we have to play into that like full force. Like men, you have to work out a whole bunch. You have to get a lot of money.
No, that's a straw man. They're not saying we have to play into this. Yeah. So what they're saying is there is a way that the world already works. You are born into this world and you can either try to change it and do something different and maybe end up lonely, or you can look at how it is, be pragmatic and try to do your best within that system. The issue isn't that, like, for Red Pill, the bigger issue is that they do have truths underlying a lot of the stuff that they're saying, but then they have a whole lot of bullcrap that's not true piled on top of those truths that are insane. And then the insane stuff ends up coming with the very true fundamental truths. And so it ends up being like very hard for, if you're in the red pill, to like untie what is actually good advice and what is bullcrap.
But when you say that they're gonna, like, if you go your own way and you don't play into these things, you can be lonely. They don't ever say that with any form of respect or reverence. Like even someone like successful like Destiny, they're like, you're pathetic. Really? Like in any way that should matter to like Myron, he should not. I don't think Myron thinks this, but Destiny's not pathetic.
They invite him back continuously. He was on last night.
I know. I'm just saying they're sending a message to people that Destiny's like a failure. They're saying that, but he's not a failure.
I don't think that they're acting like Destiny's a failure. Like even MLD was talking about the fact that Destiny lives the red pill lifestyle better than most red pillars. Like he's rich, he sleeps with a ton of different women, he's got a lot of status. Like they respect what it is he's doing, but they also have an issue with the fact that he did that in a very different way than the way that they recommend. They have very like traditional values, right? A lot of them end up over time, they realize that the stuff that they're prescribing isn't it doesn't have any sort of axiom that makes it make sense. And so they eventually start falling back onto like religion, and they start going into like very like Muslim. Like I think Myron, Tate, like Sneeko, they all started going to Muslim or to become Islam, because that now they have that fundamental thing that they can ground all of their other beliefs in, and now everything else makes sense. Now they can prescribe all of these things, and it all makes perfect sense.
Yo, what's up?
What up, man? How's it going?
I'm still getting used to this Discord system that you kids have invented.
I was going to ask if I think Jordan Peterson is the antidote to the red pill. All of these kids who ended up listening to Fresh and Fit and all these people, they would have been so much better off if the first TikToks they saw was of Jordan Peterson rather than
the first TikToks they saw were Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson is like a super fucking basic, typical alt-writer. He's like a Ben Shapiro. It's like he used to be somewhat based in 2017. Nowadays, I can predict everything he's going to say.
Just real quick, Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson are not alt-right, just to be clear. Like alt-right is like a neo-Nazi movement. Neither one of them are alt-right.
Okay, fine. Right. That word is used loosely, but right.
Yeah. Like Ben Shapiro,
yeah, but
like
they're
honestly,
not. But
I used to hate Ben Shapiro, but he's chill. He's so chill compared to some of these people.
He's super chill, and he can be based.
Peterson is not telling men all these women who reject you are bitches and all this different stuff or all this nonsense. It's like, get your own shit together and go solve a problem, and then be worthy of actually attracting a woman. It seems like a more positive message than
have certain advantages over red pillars. I will give you that. Trap cons don't really push like like the victim thing and just like being bitter towards women. But they also, I don't really think, give you any kind of like really good advice. It's like, I mean, their advice is super basic. Like, start a family, find a girl you love. Like, yeah, I mean, like if you need to hear that from someone, then like I guess
it's not the. I don't think any of that advice is in 12 Rules for Life.
I mean, early Peterson was good. Current Peterson is horrible.
I agree. To go mask off, I am a former Jordan Peterson fan because he's gone nuts on Twitter. But his OG material, all the 2017 lectures and stuff like that, I have yet to hear
psychology.
I have yet to hear anyone offer any real criticism of that philosophy he's put forward.
No, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah. I'm talking about him now, but yeah, 2017 Jordan Peterson was pretty based.
Do you guys think?
Right, exactly. So if all these kids, it probably does. But if all these kids who came across the Fresh and Fit TikToks came across the Jordan Peterson one, clean your room.
But I think I think Jordan Peterson is part of the pipeline to the red pill, though. Like
that's
Jordan Peterson
hilarious.
gives you a lot of
that's a joke.
to eventually end up in the red.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
He's the marijuana of the red pills. He's the great.
To explain that to me, how is that the case?
He's the gateway.
Gives you a lot. Yeah, he gives you a lot of.
What does he say? What does he say that leads to women are bitches and blah blah blah, that different stuff? Well, I'm obviously, I know I'm being fucking oversimplifying. What is the red pill thesis in a nutshell? Angela was on
women are bitches.
Well, okay, he talks about.
I know I'm kind of memifying
it. He talks about the obesity epidemic a lot. And specifically regarding women and how women are not attractive when they're obese, and he talks about issues. So he's
that's a statement of fact. I mean,
another reason that he's a bridge to that kind of.
Wait, you're saying Jordan Peterson talks about obesity in women?
Yes.
When does he talk about obesity in women?
At work.
The "sorry not beautiful" tweet. I know. This is why I'm a former Jordan Peterson fan, because I can't take anything he says on Twitter seriously.
The bridge to the red pill content is because he empathizes with the incel community. That's essentially his entire fan base, and this incel community is also drawn in by the messaging of this red pill, like the Fresh and Fit podcast type people, and the whatever.
Do you know any people who are like fans or former fans of Jordan Peterson? Again, modern. If anyone's a modern fan of Jordan Peterson, a fan in 2023, I would be suspect. But like the 2017 stuff and all that,
I like Jordan Peterson.
And you think his fan base is primarily incels? Certainly, I guess if you're saying like, broken young men, sure.
A lot of fan bases are going to be primary incels because
incels like self-identify.
Hold on. Sorry. Real quick, he did say just like a year ago that the government should have some sort of program to give incels girlfriends, right? Like,
I hope you're joking right now. I hope you're fucking joking. This is a meme.
I'm not joking.
You are 100% fucking wrong. I'll bet you $10,000 live stream right now.
He even talked about it with Joe Rogan.
What did he say?
He talked about it with Joe Rogan, and
enforced monogamy?
No, it wasn't. No, it was not enforced monogamy. Okay. So Joe Rogan said this kind of goes against your belief of equity versus equality, right? Because now you're saying that we have to give guys girlfriends just to make them more equal with other guys who have girlfriends. And he's like, yeah, I understand it can look a little hypocritical, but I'm just trying to explore.
That's not what he said. He said that's not at all what I'm saying. He's like, do you really? He literally made a joke saying like, do you think what I believe is that the government should like arrange marriages on behalf of incels? Do you think that's what Jordan Peterson advocated for?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, you are a third degree burn victim of misinformation because oh my god, that's the biggest laughable nonsense I've ever heard.
Just like, no,
he didn't. There's not a single clip. There's not a single clip that you can pull up of him saying anything even remotely approximating that.
Wait,
this is misinformation. You are spreading disinformation.
Where do you agree with the current red pill stuff? Because the Jordan Peterson stuff, it's like, I'm sorry, like that's how I feel
about the red pill stuff. And to be fair, I'm more of a fan of the Jordan Peterson like maps of meaning, religion and psychedelics and the nature of reality.
Well, I think usually when my content creators take to like Twitter, like whenever they go to Twitter, we've lost them because they usually show the side that they shouldn't show. So it's stay off of there.
Except Destiny, I will say Destiny actually is surprisingly solid on Twitter. In my
He has like
opinion.
a healthy troll amount. But Lord, so where do you agree with this mainstream red pill people? Like I don't understand.
Well, they tend to be conservative, and I'm conservative. They recognize issues in society that I agree are issues in society. I think a lot of their content I do disagree with. So I'm not saying that I agree with all of their stances.
Mhm.
And I mean, as you've seen on the show, I tend to argue with them on their more illogical stances. But the underlying premises, the basic shit, I agree with.
So do you agree with shaming, the way that their tactics or their ways to like handle the modern issues that they claim?
There is something to be said about like the body positive movement being a detriment, and also like for instance, if you look at modern medicine, they are encouraging doctors to think about health it's called healthy at any weight. And so they're encouraging doctors not to talk about weight as the issue for a lot of the symptoms that patients are coming in with, even if weight is the underlying symptom. So this like acceptance towards this movement towards trying to be accepting of all people is actually causing actual detrimental effects on society. So I do think that shaming has power. It's the most powerful motivator, and I think that shaming could be beneficial in society. That being said, yeah, there's everything in moderation.
Isn't the weight thing just trying to be more inclusive and to knock down like Eurocentric beauty standards and all that?
No, not when you're talking about the doctor.
Yeah, but they take it too far.
It's a Eurocentric medical system that says that obesity like causes all these problems.
Okay, this is okay. You're gonna get a hot take out of me. Okay, you're going to get a hot take, but I hate this. I hate that shit. There is an obesity epidemic, and
He's joking. Do not argue with him right now. He is joking. He is freaking.
Hold on, wait.
I do not believe anything he is saying right now.
I'm sorry, that skinny women, the beauty standard of like skinny, thin women is a Eurocentric beauty standard. That's absolutely the case.
No, that is
the
true.
Healthy at any weight is very different than that.
But that's just combating the Eurocentric beauty standard that was foisted upon us as a result of
in a dumb way
and patriarchy.
The thing where people try
you're a white male, and so you commenting on what women's bodies should be.
I'm not telling you what they should be. I'm trying to tell you that like the response to that, which is like, yeah, sure, we have this like we've set this arbitrary standard, and a lot of it lines up with like what the white women look like and shit.
Yeah,
but also
white colonial patriarchal
the attempt to like to make being obese sexy, because the obesity epidemic among the African American population is way higher, so black women tend to be fatter. Like the attempt to make that sexy is just like really misguided. I think the attempt should be to like make people healthy, and we should make it so that like black people have like access to
healthy by white European beauty standards. This is what I'm talking about.
No, healthy by like life expectancy, diabetes, fucking like getting your fucking foot amputated, shit like that.
Notice how you are referring to the dominant culture's metrics of what constitutes health. You operate in a system that privileges you.
I think
and then
longevity,
you're referring back to it to defend that system.
Longevity. You realize he's trolling right now, right?
What are you talking about?
If you're trolling me, you're
Alex,
so fucking good at it.
I'm guessing you're white too, Alex, by your profile pic.
I'm actually 1% Middle Eastern, according to my 23andMe. I would appreciate if you do not guess my skin color. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, to be fair, you're 4 times as Middle Eastern as Elizabeth Warren is Native American, and she's Harvard's first Native American professor. So
me as white either. I don't think.
I don't think we should shame. I don't think we should shame fat people.
To say about that,
I have a humongous schlong, so the black community has accepted me.
You know the Jews are considered the most persecuted group in America, and you're just gonna lump me in with whites?
Oh yeah, 47%
I think that's
Jews.
Yeah, I think you sound like a racist white man.
He's got a history with the Jewish people.
First off, I'm not. I'm non-binary. I'm non-binary,
much
so
time
you're
last
okay.
night. He didn't disrespect me in this way.
First off, I am non-binary, so you saying I'm a man is putting me in your gender roles. First off, to say that Jewish people are not white, here's what I would say to that. If you're telling me that Ben Shapiro is not white, then I don't know what you mean by white.
He's
because
Jewish.
Ben Shapiro is.
I've heard
Ben
him
Shapiro's
rap like
white
50
as fuck.
times.
Okay, Ben Shapiro is the archetypal white guy.
He's Jewish. Are you unaware that Ben Shapiro is Jewish? Are you out? That's what the little small hat is for.
Oh, is that what that is? I never figured.
Yeah,
I thought that was like a psoriasis thing.
No.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying Jewish people are white, pretty much. I think.
Are you being ironic or not?
Well,
Because I can't fucking tell him. So
all right, hold on. I'm going in and out of. I'm going in and out.
I know it's really weird.
Actually, though, hold on. But hold on. If my understanding is correct, when people cite statistics about like white wealth versus black wealth and different things, when people cite all those statistics, Jewish people are part of the white demographic.
Yep.
Is that not the case?
Jewish erasure.
Like if you look at because it's like, well, white people occupy positions of power. Well, it's like obviously, as Ben Shapiro points out, and every person who is not blind or a liar, Jewish people are statistically overrepresented in a lot of positions of power, and that's what goes into the white patriarchy.
The word overrepresented is a little weird, but there are
I'm quoting the website that is dedicated to fighting whatever the Jewish thing or whatever. I did a video on it that Tom got mad about.
The word overrepresented.
No person of any kind would dispute that Jewish people are statistically, which just means for the size of the population they are.
They're richer.
And there's many reasons for that. Number one, because they they value education. That would be helpful in, being successful.
Well, because Meth is kind of right when he says overrepresented. Like generally, like the percentage isn't all that.
I'm not even saying overrepresented. I'm saying statistically, it's a disproportionate representation. It's not a value. It's just saying it's a fact. It's like you have a small number.
But the difference is that they're like it's the top companies, like top companies in media, top companies in finance. Like they tend to run all of the top ones, the most successul ones, over and over.
Well, and it's that's like the meme version of like they're running everything. It's just like they're at I believe the average like Jewish person's IQ is like one standard deviation above the average IQ.
Yeah.
So they're represented at like every there's. I went to college and a big chunk of my fraternity were Jewish people, even though how many Jewish people are there? Like 3 million in the United States. It's something ridiculously small.
There are a lot of.
You would know how many Jewish people in the U.S.
There are. Look, I need to say some shit because I need this not to be like just a big.
And like half of them were at my fraternity somehow. I don't know.
There are a lot of rich and educated
Jewish
Jewish
people love fraternity.
But like I think that the issue that Jewish people have is they are compared to the rest.
Just clip that. The issue
that they have that we give them, the issue that we're making for Jewish people, is that they are a minority. Like so, and so they don't have the benefit of being the majority, and they have the same like a lot of like non-white people have a resentment towards white people because we have all like white privilege and shit. And I think just everybody, because Jewish people tend to be more educated and more wealthy in general, not every Jewish person, like even white people see Jewish people as the white people of white people. And so everybody kind of resents them, and they have all the downsides of that.
That would be the Scandinavians, actually.
I think
I would consider the Swedes the white people of white people, in my opinion.
I don't think any of that is true. Most people who are black or Asian or whatever, they don't hate white people. They don't give a fuck. They focus on their own shit. That's just kind of an online thing. Second of all, white people don't hate on Jews. That's extremely rare. It doesn't really happen.
Nobody hates Jews. Nobody hates Jews. Nobody hates white people. Whatever.
I think Italians are the white
people, and they're all on the internet.
Can we go back to something less controversial, like obesity
in women
or something like that?
Jonah Hill thing. So the Jonah Hill thing.
I might dip in just 5 minutes or so, but I'll stick around for this a little bit.
He just released like a text message, or maybe she did. I'm not sure who did, but a text message from him came out today.
Can you put it up on screen?
Said that he was upset that she would release private information, that this was a huge violation of his privacy and of his trust, and he can't believe that she did this, which seems to be like most people's issue with what happened, is that it wasn't that big of a deal, and then even if it was, for her to go and release all of that information was still like a massive violation of his privacy, and kind of something like leaking DMs and crap is something that's pretty highly frowned upon. But the bigger issue is that she called it abuse and framed him as abusive, and then like a misogynist and all sorts of other things in her groups of messages on Instagram. And lots of feminists are out here defending this, saying that any guy who has these sorts of standards is a sexist and a misogynist, and that this like
what did you say that was allegedly sexist or misogynist?
Yeah, pull it up.
Are you?
Well, so no, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's not easy to just like.
Let me
say
send you.
Well, so what he did is he told her that he didn't want her around other surfer guys. He didn't want her alone with other surfer guys. She's a surfer. There were other friends that she had that he didn't want her around that were women as well. And he didn't like that she was continuously posting like thirst pics and stuff like that on Instagram, even though that's how he met her, was by commenting on her pictures on Instagram. So a lot of people have issues with him just asking her not to do those things within their relationship. And then other people are not just saying that he shouldn't ask for that, but that it's even abusive, controlling, and going way too far. So,
well, the lack of thirst pics, like if that's how they met, then why is she still posting? Like, is she trying to get more? Like, she's trying to get.
Is Jonah Hill Jewish?
He is.
And didn't he save Kanye West?
That is a true thing that Kanye said.
Exactly. I feel like that should. I don't know how yet. Sorry, Lauren. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I feel like that's got to play in somehow.
Super important. It was a super important interruption. I totally understand it. Yeah.
What part of the internet do you think is on Jonah Hill's side, and what part do you think is on the girl's side, from what you've seen?
I didn't hear the question.
What percentage of the internet do you think is on Jonah Hill's side, and which percentage is against him, from what you've seen?
Of the internet? Oh, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's so hard to know, because like what we're looking at is just like a section. It's so hard. It's honestly like if you look in a different spot, I can look in one area on fucking Twitter and see all support of this woman, and then I can look in another area and see all support of Jonah. So it's really hard to even tell the percentage.
No, I would say that
my observation is like 75 in favor, 25 against, from what I've seen.
In favor of Jonah?
Yeah, like 75, but I'm kind of a little bit of my manosphere community, but even just going outside of that, because I do have other interests, I'd say the majority, 3/4 of the internet is kind of siding with Jonah, and like 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 5 people are like, yo, this guy's fucked.
Yeah, he obviously has insecurities, but I see this all the time in leftist groups where they point something out as an insecurity as though that's bad now. Like, you having an insecurity is bad and you're not allowed to have that. And now if you voice that insecurity, then you're doing something wrong. But women can do this, no problem, no big deal. But if men do this, now it's sexist, now it's misogynist, this is horrible controlling thing. And it's just, it seems super, like, it does seem sexist from a lot of people, the way that they're treating Jonah about all of this. I think if he doesn't want his girlfriend doing certain things, he's allowed to draw those boundaries.
Hold on. That is absolutely, I don't know about absolutely. I agree with that, but I also think Jonah is absolutely being sexist too.
How so?
Okay, his boundaries that he was setting for his girlfriend are like not like first world like feminist country boundaries. Like he was setting like standards as if they like lived in a fucking like religious state or something. Like she's not allowed she's not allowed to.
Very similar boundaries to the ones I have for my girlfriend to some extent. These are normal like traditional relationship boundaries. And I'm not even in a traditional relationship.
Yeah,
Smith. I think you're being anti-Semitic.
Like I would not be okay with my girlfriend posting thirst traps or hanging out with random dudes without any boundaries.
No, hanging out with random dudes.
Hold on.
You're framing she's a surfer.
Hold on. Wait, no. because I want to add some context to this. So yes, so she is a surfer. She's going to be in a bathing suit or a bikini pretty often. Obviously, having an Instagram is a big part of her career and getting brand deals and crap like that. She could probably do the same thing in a wetsuit, but it's not going to be as successful if she's not looking super hot and attractive. And so his issue is, hey, like, yes, me thirsting after you and me looking at you on Instagram and seeing that you're hot is what made me come after you. But now you're doing the same thing, and now I see a bunch of guys commenting on your pictures. I enjoy that. When I have a girlfriend who's hot and she posts hot pictures of herself, I like it. I don't have an issue with it. I think it's weird when other people have issues with it. Is that, yeah, you guys were talking about.
I think Jonah should have made her wear a one-piece bathing suit. And
have you guys seen her Instagram? Have you seen her Instagram?
You guys were talking about Beret Girl earlier. This is Beret Girl.
Her Instagram is almost like trad. She's wearing like super modest two pieces. Like she's not like a sexy influencer.
There's no such thing as a modest two piece.
I think like it's very based on like the way that Jonah is, you can just kind of, like you said, it. There's definitely insecurities there, and I think that that's definitely a projection. It's unfortunate. I think they met that way, and you can't really set those like midway through the relationship. If you have those type of standards, you set it from the beginning. But like that's how he got into the relationship, and you just switched it up and decided to make it a big deal. I think he came about it in a pretty normal way. I think she definitely blew it out of proportion. But I wouldn't say that those rules
did everything right.
Yeah, I think he did everything to the best he could. I just don't agree with the way that she exposed it. I think that's really petty and really messy. And as far as what he set for her in a relationship, I think that that's the problem with like this modern relationship, the way that people are. The fact that you have to verbally set those type of rules already says that you don't have any control of that relationship. I'm not saying you should have to control it, but it should be. Yeah, like with me, like once I started doing content, before this, I used to have like normal content out with people. I'm a lot more discreet on social media now than I was before. No one had to do that. No one told me, no one held a knife to me. Like it's just something I do just because he doesn't have social media. And that's something we don't have to talk about. So like seeing this, that he has to like explicitly set these rules for her, I think that it's probably like quite transactional. He probably wanted her to just quit her job. He probably would have taken care of her, but it would have taken away her right as a person to have like a goal or a career or a passion, which is my problem with like the red pill guys, because when they say those are irrelevant, it's not, you don't need it, but it's like you're going off the premise that it's just all money and that you could take care of everything. But like if you're like young, which they look like they were pretty young-ish, like what is she supposed to do? Just stay at home, cook clean, make butter from scratch? Like what do you want this girl to be doing?
She's actually like she's like 40, right?
She's cheating because of how he's talking about her. Like it seems like there's some issue with
then if it's
her
that,
cheating, or that her friends are like encouraging her to cheat, or things like that.
If she's cheating, then what he's doing is he's punishing her, which is not the same as setting a healthy boundary. Like it's like now you're cheating.
No,
like
that's not punishing.
Look, those
are healthy boundaries.
If I may, I think that this generation is really unused to boundaries in a relationship being like public. It is in everything he asked for is so extremely normal, and it would be just as normal for her to be like, no dude, you're weird, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. Like that is 100%. It is so reasonable to set up what you want in a relationship, and it's so reasonable to be like, no, I don't think so, and leave.
Yeah, but not as a retaliation. Okay, like if someone cheats on you and then you're like, well, now that you cheated, you're not allowed to do this or else we're breaking up. Like I have my ex-girlfriend's like
that's pretty normal.
Her dad used Tinder, and then his wife took away her phone.
I don't want you talking to other guys now. That totally makes sense.
As I was talking, his wife took away his phone as a retaliation for him cheating. Is that like acceptable? I don't think that like, I think that you need to like have like, there's a healthier way to deal with these things, and I don't think retaliation is a healthy way.
But take away is the wrong word. But what if the wife is like, hey, I don't no longer trust you, and I want to see your phone if I'm going to continue this relationship? Like, I think that's reasonable. I personally would walk away from someone who cheats on me. But yeah, like if someone breaks your trust, you're not going to trust them as much, and your boundaries might become tighter.
Well, how do we fix that? How do we fix that? Like, if the solution is you can't have a phone
with the boundaries.
Yeah, by discussing it, a personal, private discussion on Twitter.
That's how you gain trust again. If you've ever been in therapy after being cheated on or something, or whatever, divorced couples go to therapy all the time, and it's always like, okay, what are you comfortable with? How can I gain back the trust? And it's under stipulations like this.
But I don't think that was part of those texts at all. It was.
And I had to go a little bit above and beyond to earn her trust back. Like, yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah,
he wasn't
usually
telling
it's
her
like giving passwords or
he wasn't
or,
telling her how to earn his trust.
sex alone.
He was not telling her how to
he
earn
was
his
telling
trust.
her what he's not comfortable with, which are all like reasonable things. Like, I mean, you might be comfortable with a lot more than he is. I would probably say I am too. Like, I wouldn't care about her taking a photo in a swimsuit, but some of the things made sense to me. Like having relationships with guys without boundaries. That seems like a no-brainer. Like, yeah, if she's gonna have male friends, there should be boundaries in those friendships.
Like, I think that he's flawed. Like, I think that Jonah Hill makes these requests out of flaw, right? I think that he's insecure, and you know, we probably should advocate against men wanting to control those aspects of a woman's life, but just speaking them, just setting you know, stipulations for what you want is extremely healthy. And
like calling it like a flaw, because like that's like saying like monogamy is a flaw in humans. Like, I don't think that that's true, but monogamy is a lot out of insecurity.
Sure, which I think that we should. I'm pretty high openness, so I would say that that's probably, you know, for me, for my values, values, right?
Yeah, Lav is one of the few people who can potentially pull it off. We'll see in the long term.
Well, so let me ask you, Lav, if somebody met you through OnlyFans and then later said, you know what, I realized I'm not okay with this. Do you think that that's hypocritical of them to know that that's what you're doing and then ask you not to do it?
We don't know what we want until the situation presents itself, right? Like, especially, it's so normalized in dating now for women to like parade themselves out, like, you know, like butcher shops, right? Like, it's porn is everywhere. Our own personal porn stars are in our phone, and it's every woman you went to high school with, right? Like, it is very normalized to show as much of your body as possible. So if that's the way that women are taught to market themselves and that's what's normal, then you enter a relationship in which traditionally, because we all, even leftists, will enter traditional marriages, then we find out, this probably isn't actually something that I really want, and maybe the idea seemed hot at first, or maybe it seemed hot when we were younger, but, you know, I'm actually not so comfortable with it now because, you know, with the knowledge that you have at that point, it makes more sense to tighten up a bit. And one, I would never talk to a man who buys porn or an OnlyFans. That's disgusting, and you should be publicly executed.
Lav, we talked, and I've spent a lot of money on feet pics. But
oh my god!
But Lav,
hold on.
Do you see the irony in that?
Hold on. Angela's got to head out.
Okay. I gotta go, guys.
See you, Angela.
Yeah, roll off in a few minutes.
Take it easy.
Big fan.
Same.
Go search Angela 2.0 on YouTube.
And then there was 6.
Subscribe.
Yeah, I don't think Jonah abused her, but I think that the expectations that he had are unhealthy, and it is only abuse in that women are abused generally by society because the expectations were sexist.
Agreed. Patriarchal, just like obesity.
How can you say
my girlfriends had though expectations?
How can you say that you don't think Jonah abused her when you think everybody abuses everybody in every relationship?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's permissible abuse.
Yes, he's not an abuser. He's not an abuser.
I don't know. Send him to jail, y'all. Let's get the cuffs on.
He might be.
He might be.
He might be. He
might be, but with what we know, I mean, we're all really just speculating, but with what we know, it just seems like a relationship that ended poorly, but not in any like big way. They're not like the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. We're just obsessed with looking at, you know, trash fires. Like, it doesn't look like this. Seems like a very normal breakup where they're both like very stinky and, you know, they're mad at each other, but with the added aspect of Jonah Hill being a famous person and for making it public, right? Like, that's what's more heinous about this is the fact that our personal information can become like extremely public for no reason. Like, because for what did she, like, I guess you, like, I don't know. I think that women should come forward about things like cheating and, you know, expose men for being like pieces of shit. But I think, you know, with a situation like this where, like, I think she looks stupid. I think most people think she looks stupid. So she's getting the karma in the fact that she looks kind of silly.
Only because everybody's saying that. I want to stand up for her because I don't think it's totally without merit. Like, I think that there is a lesson that she can teach other women through this like example of like, look, like he's our relationship. He set these boundaries and it changed, and I was okay with them. I thought I would be okay with them, and it made me miserable. And now I really regret all of that. And maybe that's like a good lesson to learn from. I really don't like.
Sure, and then she can become. She can
oh
become
my
a
god, my
spokesperson
boyfriend
that
had
way.
boundaries, so I had to go and dox and expose him and to
Well,
the internet.
if she would have gone that route, Smith, if she would have been like, you know what, I realized while I was in this relationship that this is what was happening to me, that would be an incredible thing to do, right? The fact is that people are trying to parse out a winner and a loser of the situation, and there typically is just never one in relationships.
Well,
like,
in this case, but in this
scenario,
only
two losers.
She's agreeing to the stipulations over and over. She is agreeing. She's not saying, no, I don't want to do this. No, this is unfair. No, I this is, you're forcing this on me. That's not what she's agreeing to the stipulations over and over.
There's also
and
pressure because
boundaries.
she's with this man who she loves and who is famous, and there are outside pressures, right? Like, it's not so easy. She's not retarded, he's not retarded. They're just two people who got caught up in a relationship that they probably shouldn't have been in. Neither of them were probably ready for a relationship with each other.
She seems kind of retarded, honestly. It seems like Jonah Hill's doing pretty good. He's like in a relationship right now. I think he's about to have a kid or whatever.
Apparently,
I'm gonna roll out
they
FYI,
sexted
guys,
like a month ago.
Thank you, Tom, for having me.
Nice
Bye.
meeting you.
Peace. Yes, nice to meet you, the three of you who I've not met yet. Yes, like the Chinese restaurant.
The Chuck PF Drunks. Yeah, I got to roll out too. I can't stay for too long. But
right. Thanks,
yeah,
guys.
it was good seeing you guys. Thanks for having me, Tom.
Yes, sir.
Meeting you.
Take it easy, y'all.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, like, her continuously agreeing to it is kind of like leading him on over and over, making it seem like she's going to do this stuff. And then she shows another group of messages where he's upset that she still has not done the things that she's agreeing to do. And then she outs him as though he's doing something wrong by getting mad that she's not doing the things that she's saying.
Well, you can say the same thing for him. Why is he so loose on his boundaries? He knows what he wants. And you keep giving her chances, she's walking all over you. You're kind of stupid, right? Like, these are just two people who are very silly.
Yeah, but that he's not like lying or like refusing to do anything. He's just trying to make it
feel like a threat. So if you're not going to enact your boundaries, if you're not going to actually, use your boundaries and keep to them, then it's just a threat, and you can't threaten your partners. That's abusive.
I don't know. She says in the messages that she eventually left him, but his messages later make it sound like he left her because he did enact his boundaries. So there's a bit of a mix up there where she's messaging one of her friends and she shows that message where she says, "Oh yeah, he had an issue with some brand deal and I wasn't gonna not take the brand deal, so I had to leave him." But he sends she shows a message from him.
Relationship? Can you imagine the relationships that we're going into in the new century, that you leave your partner for a fucking brand deal, bro? This is the death of traditionalism. This is what the leftists want. They want to poison us.
And Kim was offered a brand deal to do some modeling for a company, but they had ripped off Kanye's designs several times. So Kim asked Kanye, "Can I do this brand deal?" And he said, "No, I would prefer if you didn't." And she lost out on $1 million. And I don't know if it was like a week later, but like soon after that, he gave her a present, and part of that was a card, and then it was a check for $1 million, and it was like, "Thank you."
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, so like it is a thing, and if you're gonna be a part of content creating, and you're gonna make your entire family a part of content creating, and that becomes your job, and that's part of the issue that Red Pillars are pointing out is if you have women trying to do high value jobs and men also like these power couples, are you actually putting the family first type thing is just an issue that they point out. If you're putting the job first as a woman before the family. Yeah.
I think as anyone, as a father, if you're doing that weird shit, it's also weird.
The argument typically is that the father has the job in the first place.
Sure, I think the reason why so many women are focusing on this like influencer lifestyle is because of access to wealth. It is the easiest way for a woman to access tons of money very quickly in a way that is like unheard of, right? And so then they're dating these apparently high value men who don't provide for them emotionally, who aren't, in monogamous relationships, aren't wanting to be fathers, they're wanting to be playboys. And so women are responding to that by they're not going back, they're not retreating into the home, they don't feel comfortable there, these men aren't taking care of them, so they're wanting to do girl boss stuff, and they're wanting to make as much money as they can before settling down on the right guy, because there's so few good men. If there were more good men, there'd be more good women. If you want to lead, if you want a patriarchy, you got to be strong. That heavy is the head who holds the crown.
It takes two to tango.
I've had a girlfriend. I mentioned this when I went over the story, is that I did have a girlfriend who asked me to quit my job. We were talking about marriage. We were talking about having kids, and I did what she asked me to do, because I don't think that that's such a ridiculous request. If I'm willing to put her happiness above my ability to make money in that scenario, or my career, I should be able to make that decision, or at least have the option. And I think lots of people are offended at him just asking the question, or asking for the because what is it he keeps saying in the messages is he wants her to not take him for granted, or something like that. And so he's just asking for
okay,
respect,
I'm offended.
and saying just show me you care about the
I'm
relationship.
offended. Okay, so I looks like I'm the odd one out because I'm offended by it. I think that he Gate showed no regard for her feelings, because so he's like, I need you to do this. This is what he didn't say. How do you feel about this? He didn't. There was no there was no negotiation of the boundaries at all. It was just this is what it is, and she's she clearly didn't feel comfortable trying to negotiate.
No, Smith, in each and every message, he's saying, you still have not done this. You still are not respecting my boundaries. Each and every time.
Okay, that's not what I'm talking about.
Had this conversation numerous times before this. They may have had negotiations. They may have had other conversations.
In what we've seen. In what we've seen, I have not seen the things that would make. Maybe it was framed to make him look worse. In which case,
it doesn't seem like she's trying to negotiate. It seems like she's just agreeing to it and then not.
Yeah,
doing
that's bad. If she's not trying to negotiate, isn't he like someone who's been in therapy for forever, and he's gone to super ritzy therapist? Shouldn't he be trying to encourage her to negotiate because he cares about her, and he should understand this shit. How long has he been fucking talking to fucking guru therapist guy?
That just seems ridiculous. You're asking him to negotiate against his own wants and interests in this relationship.
So when I have relationships and I realize that a woman is not giving me adequate consent during sex, I don't just keep going forward. I'm like, I need to actually believe that you are consenting now, or I'm just leaving. This isn't gonna happen. If you just look like a fucking deer in headlights, I'm not gonna fucking do it.
Maybe that is the right thing. Maybe you should be hey, if you're not going to give me consent, I'm going to not continue to have sex with you. Maybe you should be saying that.
Yeah, I agree. And so she was not giving him any feedback or pushback in the text that we saw. Shouldn't he be concerned? Why is he just this? It's my way or the highway. What he says completely dwarfs her feelings, or whatever her experience is. It's just what I say goes. I'm the one that's important here. There's no conversation.
I think the moral of the story here is that nobody should ever date influencers or B-list
anybody at all, ever.
I think that both professions are rooted in abject narcissism, and so you're not getting the cream of the crop people in this situation. You're getting flawed individuals, and they're both silly. They're both silly, but I wish the best for both of them.
I don't know. It just the amount of I think Lav, you said this earlier, like it's just a lot of like teams of like this person did everything right, this person is completely fine, the other person did everything wrong, or the other person's abusive. I would, if anything's abusive, I do think like just leaking those sorts of messages for absolutely no reason, as long after as she did, like that just seems unnecessary and insane, and it seems like vindictive because he is in another relationship, his wife's pregnant, like it just seems.
Did you see that they were sexting like a month and a half ago?
You mentioned that. I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, she exposed him yesterday for the fact that they had sexted only like 6 weeks ago.
Okay, you had a moment of weakness during your relationship.
So clearly, you know, this is coming from maybe she was upset that he didn't leave his pregnant wife or something, or you know, something like that. It is vindictive. And you know what? We should normalize women being a little vindictive. I don't think she should be put to death or burned at stake, but I think we can all acknowledge what she did was super cringe and an unhealthy behavior. She should have taken it to therapy and dealt with it on her own.
Yeah.
Well, they said, they went
conflicted
together apparently, but
that's crazy. Imagine not being with your pregnant wife.
It's so hard for me to come down on either side of that.
Yeah, that's weird. Imagine talking to your ex who's like has a pregnant wife. Like, you're a piece of shit. That's so weird.
No, imagine going to the internet thinking that you're the good guy.
Yeah, she did not have great. She did not. The optics on this are bad, and she doesn't seem very bright. And
well,
no
you look at the messages that. So she also posted the messages with her friends, where she's talking to the friend about it and telling them what happened.
Hyping her up. It is. Yes. I hate that women do this.
Yes, they're just gassing her up the whole time. Oh, he's so disgusting. That's abusive. I can't believe him. You're so much better off without him.
This is third wave feminism. This is third wave feminism. This is girl boss. Fuck whoever you want. Liberal feminism. It is a disgrace. It's very Jewish.
Fast guy, young bad girls do it well, like that type of energy. Yeah, all the way.
It's true.
I really want to condemn it.
It's hilarious that leftist women will push this, and leftist men want. Listen, right wing men think that women are private property. Leftist men think that women are public property. So leftist men and leftist women push this like idea of fuck whoever you want. Bash traditional marriage, and these people will still go on to have traditional marriages. 80% of them will go on to have kids and live in a monogamous relationship. I don't know who we're fooling. We're all like collectively lying to each other that this is like good for us.
The traditional like wife is like a sex slave, but then the like progressive wife is like a Uberized sex slave. You're just like, you're on like OnlyFans, so now you're everybody's sex slave.
True.
I don't want. It's so hard for me to come down against her. I like, it is really cringe and it weirds me out. But I don't. It's so. I think it's spooky to because if she actually believed that she was being abused and she didn't come out with it, like that's bad. So like.
Yes, she just needs to go to therapy and she needs to stop posting about it because it's not good. She's in like a negative feedback loop.
People should go to therapy before exposing people. Maybe that's what it should. Is that a good idea?
I think the more you go to therapy, the more you realize that it doesn't do anything.
We are prescribing the classic turn off the internet prescription. Yeah, she needs to turn off the internet.
Or just get a second opinion from a professional.
Listen, as someone who's come out about men in my time, a few of them. While you're feeling it, it feels like a good idea. And then you realize that the system is never going to change and people hate women. So just go to therapy and you won't change the world. Stop trying to be a martyr and, heal on your own.
And then on top of that, she mentioned that like their therapist was breaking confidentiality rules by breaking rules by talking about himself. But it's a documentary about him. And in the documentary, he's talking about himself, and she's like going off about how that he's like breaking rules by talking about himself. It was really weird. It was so strange. Like she just started attacking other people.
The therapist was the therapist in the documentary?
Yeah,
Wait,
it was
so
a fucked
Jonah-
up documentary. I agree. It's a fucked up documentary.
Instead of using the word his, can you use like Jonah versus or the therapist? Because I didn't know who you were referring to.
Jonah made a documentary about the therapist, and the therapist talks about himself, his own life, his own experiences, and stuff like that in the documentary. And so she says we should boycott the therapist because he's breaking rules of therapy by talking about himself, and then posts like literally a Google thing that says therapists are not supposed to go into detail about their own lives or talk extensively about
This is
themselves
the surfer.
in therapy
girl?
sessions. But that's not a documentary is not a therapy session.
No,
so,
that
like,
you're misunderstood. Like that's not how this works. The thing is, he's not supposed to have that kind of relationship with a client. He's not to have a relationship where his personal life is now part of your relationship with him. If he's talking to Jonah about his personal life and they've now bridged a gap that's not supposed to be bridged. The relationship between therapist and client is supposed to be one way. It's not supposed to be two way.
I agree with this. Yes, it is supposed to be one way.
Is he supposed to be continuing therapy after doing this documentary with this therapist?
Good question.
I think that they're friends at this point, and I think that they just like are just close friends, and he's more of like a life coach to him now than anything else. But
Okay,
that's what
so
it seems like.
maybe it's fine. So maybe like they were therapists and then their friendship became so close that they decided it was no longer healthy and to just stay friends. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. The
Isn't he dying?
context
He's
that
dying.
she gives us.
Who's
He's got
dying?
cancer.
The therapist is dying, and that's why they did it.
I think he's cancer, right?
Yeah. So they like no longer could really have. So
Oh
they
yeah, so
decided
then
to
I
do
don't
this.
see the problem. But
It's definitely less when you view it that way. It's definitely like less bad.
Yeah, that changes a lot, dude.
Yeah.
what kind of cancer?
I think it I don't know, but it's terminal. Like he's not gonna make it.
Yikes. Cancer's terrible.
Hot take.
I'm glad I
Yeah.
didn't wear my hat that says glioblastoma.
Oh no. But yeah.
So I'm coming out of a sickness, so my throat just keeps going out in the
Hopefully
middle.
not cancer. I hear that one's terrible.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, I heard that it'll kill you.
That would be so sad.
But maybe they'll
That'd be
make a
so sad.
documentary about you.
It's not all that much fun.
Yeah, we can make a documentary about your life, and then I could have my girlfriend post a thing about how nasty
Documentary about my life would be a good documentary.
Okay, you know what? I heard something about you that sounded cool. Dude, like, I don't know if I'm like leaking private information about you, but I heard of something. I don't think this is. I heard that you like I heard that you in the past like found like drug dealers and you like stole from them. Like you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what is this story? That's a cool fucking story.
So I was a drug dealer and a heroin addict. So me and my friends would meet other drug dealers or people that we were selling drugs to, or even drug dealers that would sell to us. And one day we dressed up in SWAT uniforms, got on 2 SUVs, rode up to the house, ran in with like a battering ram, broke in. So my girlfriend first would go hang out with them, go over to their house, hang out, tell us where the drugs were, make sure that like the safe is open and everything, make sure that their like guard is down, they're hanging out and everything. And then we would break in and take all their drugs and then punch a couple of them, be like, oh, damn it. Like, we can't arrest them because we punched them. So we're just going to confiscate all this stuff. Better not deal drugs anymore. And then we'd walk out with all their stuff.
That's amazing. That's like a real life Breaking Bad
And
scenario.
You're lucky you didn't get shot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the point in the girlfriend going first. Like, her going and hanging out with them first is texting us,
I
telling
know,
us
but, like,
everything going on. Yeah.
You're lucky they didn't realize you weren't actually police. Or
So they did. Well, so no, a couple of people did, and it ended up in the newspaper that like people were dressing up in SWAT uniforms and robbing drug dealers. And so one day, I'm driving down the road, cops come behind me. I start to run. I run a couple of times, got in the way. I had drugs in the car, so we start throwing all the drugs out of the car. Cops finally pull us over. we have to get out of the car with our hands on top of our head, walk backwards. They put us in cuffs, set us on the sidewalk, rip the car apart. And they come over and they're like, there's no drugs in the car. Why did you run? Like, why the hell did you run? What was the point in that? And I said, I said, a fake SWAT team robbed me and all my friends the other day. And I was afraid you guys were the same people trying to rob us again. And they actually let us go. Like, they were like, okay, that we know who you're talking about.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, very low conscientiousness levels. Borderline.
Did you ever
social?
When you're a heroin addict, that's just kind of what you're. Oh, that's not special for a heroin addict.
System for any of us? Did you ever catch charges?
Yeah, I went to prison. I got arrested on RICO, and then they ended up just charging me with a bunch of 17 other charges instead.
And that's where he found his husband. Isn't that sweet?
Shut up. No.
Isn't that cute? I think it's so cute.
Very cute. Very cute.
I heard that. I heard that in prison, if you are a bottom, then you're more likely to remain gay after leaving prison. But if you're a top, then you're not less likely to remain gay.
Are you talking about assuming and bottom bunk?
No, I'm talking about
No, yes,
so
that's it.
The only people who actually that for me, when I was in there, the only people that ever actually engaged in that were the biggest freaking kingpin guys, and then some mentally ill, autistic or retarded kid who just wasn't really all there. Those were always the relationships. It was never the way it looks in movies.
So you can't, as a way to protect yourself, you can't become someone's bitch for their protection.
No, that kind of is how they're convinced into doing it, is that because the mentally ill kids are not they're not part of some big crew. They don't have a whole lot of friends. They don't have a whole lot of value that they provide, and so there's not much that they can do to get out of this sort of stuff.
Prisoner rules are wild, especially the fact that they it's actually broken up by race, isn't it? Or am I wrong? Is that not?
Yeah, generally in Atlanta prisons, not so much. It's not nearly as bad.
Did you go to an Atlanta prison?
Well, no, I mean Georgia, prisons.
Where did you go to prison?
So I went to Jackson first. That's where you go through diagnostics.
Where is that? What state?
Georgia. Yeah.
Oh.
Yikes.
Damn. You were really in there.
I don't know what that means.
You were really in it.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Lav, you're getting locked up in one of the states in the United States. Which state would it be?
California.
And why? If you could choose.
California.
No,
What?
Silicon
not
Valley,
California.
maybe? I don't know.
No. California. Wait, for a violent
California
crime?
has cholo
Wait, what was my crime? What was my crime? Yeah. Wait, first of all, I can deal with that. I'm also a woman. We're talking about women's prisons.
It's probably still the gangs and women's. It's not as bad, but
yes, it's not as bad at fucking all. I would just find a girlfriend.
Okay.
We'd do our thing.
You and Paris Hilton can hang out.
Yes, exactly. I'd get special privileges. I'd sleep with the COs.
Sounds like a sweet deal.
Laws are lax over there. No, I don't know. Probably Vermont.
Martha Stewart would show you how to make cupcakes.
Yeah.
Vermont feels like a good place.
I feel Vermont very strongly. I feel like maple syrup girls,
Yeah, mostly people are just gonna be there for drug offenses. So they're all gonna be nodding off, and I'm gonna be doing my shit. I'm gonna be the kingpin of the Vermont prison.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Or
Mr. Tom.
Idaho girls.
I was talking to you in the chat. You don't even answer me. The second Lab hops in chat, you answer her back. I think I had to come out and call out the simpery going on here.
Okay, earrings.
Lab.
Thank you.
And you too. You too. What happened to the debate?
I don't know if you know this. I've been offline for 2 months.
I don't know this. I don't know this because all I know is you were supposed to come
This is my
on
first
and
day
then
out
you
here.
just ghosted me.
Damn.
You're a hater.
Listen. I got a lot to
But
do.
Tom, what the
Men
hell?
aren't the
Sorry,
top of my
she
list.
ghosted me for like a year before she finally came on. So
That's true. I'm
Sorry,
playing
guys.
hard to get.
Yeah.
How do you take this from her, Tom? What is this? What is it?
I don't have much of an ego. You guys talk about taking things. I don't care too much.
I don't know. I think this is a cover up. I think
It's a
actually have
psyop. This is
super
actually the
ego.
Cabal.
It's the Cabal.
Yeah. Tom is here from. He's a psyop
Speaking
from Big Women.
of, after a recent debate on a very recent podcast, I'm thinking of becoming a groiper.
Why is this?
I'm starting to ask some questions.
About the Jews, you're Jewish.
I
and
didn't
you're
listen,
asking
I didn't
questions
say
about
it.
the Jews.
Listen, I didn't say it.
Yeah, a Jewish girl becoming a groiper.
I'm just saying someone came out of that debate looking pretty good. That's all I'm saying.
You're not wrong.
I see what you're saying. Okay,
You're not wrong.
I'm just saying I could be convinced.
Lauren was there. Lauren was there live for the debate.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched like highlights of like owned clips on in Big Tech's little thing. So I get all my groiper information from Big Tech. So
Okay.
So
that's cool. But how do you feel about Jews, Lauren?
She's Jewish.
Oh my god.
Slay. So am
She's
I.
also Jewish. Yeah.
Listen,
Are you Jewish?
My mother.
Are you
my mother is
100% Jewish?
No, I'm like 20% Ashkenazi Jewish, and my dad is Sephardic, but that doesn't show up on a 23andMe.
Okay, that's cool.
I didn't have a bat mitzvah, but I went to a couple years of Hebrew school, and we celebrated Hanukkah and Christmas. So
Do you know the alphabet?
no, I could not tell you. I remember a little bit of a like Shabbos chant. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. I won't bother you
No,
guys.
keep
but
going.
yeah. No.
No, keep going.
No, I've
Also, I grew
denounced
up-
this part of myself. I've
I grew
denounced
up-
this part of myself.
I grew up celebrating Jewish holidays. We celebrated Hanukkah, Passover. We sang like tons of Jewish songs, and
I thought you were Christian.
was Christian, but Jews
Now
are the
you're
chosen
Jewish?
people, so we
Yeah, they're the
celebrate their
chosen
culture as well.
Yeah.
Are you joking? You're joking about that one. Come on. You guys really did all that too?
Yeah, I worked for like growing up. Like I helped with nonprofits. One was called what was it? The Jewish something foundation. Like there were a number of like Jewish nonprofits that
The Jewish Women's
I
Foundation.
volunteered at growing up. So yeah.
So it's because
I
you
know
worked
all
for them
the-
that you celebrated them.
Well, no. It's it's because they're the chosen people. Like that. That's why. My
Lauren-
dad.
So Lauren,
my dad would go and like teach Passovers. He was a pastor, and so he would go and like teach Passover to different Christian churches and teach Hanukkah. We teach a bunch of different songs and all of like the different types of celebrations and parts of the culture and all of that.
Cool.
Lauren, how do you feel about talking to Nick tomorrow?
Very cool. You're still a goy though.
I'm excited to see Nick again. I like him. I think he's a nice person.
Nick
Um,
who? Fuentes? Is that who we're talking about?
Like the number one.
He's a nice
Nazi.
guy.
Number one Nazi.
Yeah, he was nice enough. I don't think I asked him on the show, like, are you anti-Semitic? Would you label yourself anti-Semitic? And he said no.
Nobody would.
Lauren, have you heard of this
Just
concept
search him up in
of a
Google
lie?
and look what
Have you heard of
comes
this
up in his
concept of a
Wikipedia.
lie?
It's like, hey, Richard Spencer, are you racist? No. Oh,
He's not anti-Semitic, but he will argue about the GC for hours, like passionately.
He's allowed to believe the Holocaust didn't happen. He's just retarded.
I think that
You're just retarded.
you could be retarded and believe the Holocaust didn't happen and see that there's censorship around certain topics and be skeptical due to that censorship and not be anti-Semitic. Like I think I can genuinely say that he is trying to base everything in logic and he is trying to question why certain things can't be talked about. Like, I want to understand his perspective better. And if he's not straight up telling me to my face, I hate all Jews, I mean, that's
then you'll just so unless he says it, you'll do nothing.
Wait, I have engaged with Groypers and Nick Fuentes and all of his followers for years. Okay, go watch their shows on Cozy. You will get a very, very, very different impression of them than what they put on when they're on.
I get the Telegram notification whenever you like.
Yes,
I literally just watched an interview with him where he says it would be better if America was white.
I know the Holocaust exists. My grandma survived the Holocaust. I'm 50% Jewish. My entire mom's side of the family is Jewish. And definitely don't believe the same things Nick believes, but at least his beliefs, like for instance, when I talked to him about race and IQ, he at least genuinely does believe that it's 100% genetic, and he's willing to come say like, well, genetics is. He was willing to agree. He was willing to come to a middle with me when we talked about it maybe not being 100% genetic, it being some nurture, and it being societal, and genetics being changed with like evolution, and therefore with culture changing evolution. But that's the side, and like essentially grooming and breeding. But
eugenicism, based eugenicism. Okay.
No. Like for instance,
didn't you call like another streamer anti-Semitic for a joke?
It's like if society is saying, "Oh, having big tits and big ass, that's like the most important thing," then you're going to get a lot of women in future generations with big tits and big ass, and that's all that's going to matter. But if a society cares a lot about brain, like intelligence, and that's really important to society sexually, and that's a way to succeed sexually.
Yeah, Hitler had some great ideas.
So that's like a cultural. God. So like in certain culture, it's sexy to be.
Wait a minute. Wait, this is cap. You're doing this because Nick Fuentes is a big streamer. This is cap. You called Starlight anti-Semitic for a joke. This is cap. What you're doing right here. I don't know what you're doing here. This is a joke.
You could still be anti-Semitic and then
you called somebody. Didn't you call another streamer for making a joke anti-Semitic?
So Hello Starlight made fun of my Holocaust surviving grandma.
And it was a joke, right? Like it was a joke about it?
My Holocaust surviving grandma.
Well, Nick Fuentes doesn't believe in your surviving grandparents, right?
He believes in Jewish black magic. He believes that there's a Jewish subversion. He believes these words are a quote from his mouth. There is a Jewish subversion of the American creed is happening.
She's buying into how charismatic Nick is.
Do you know that content creator who made fun of my grandma?
Didn't she say you looked like a Holocaust survivor or something? That was the joke. She said you looked like a Holocaust survivor.
Right, and in the immediate
and then you called her anti-Semitic. Well, this guy's made way more anti-Semitic things. I'm just saying.
That's not what happened.
What happened?
So she said, "You look like a Holocaust survivor," and I asked her, "Did you ask me that knowing that my grandma survived the Holocaust?" And she said, "Yeah, of course I did, bitch."
Ew, she sounds like a wretched whore.
So I don't know why he's trying to call me out for that right now. And
because Speakeasy, because you have to understand, she's gonna take that a lot more personally as well than her just saying this about some random person, right?
Like it doesn't matter that it's a joke. It's a bias. You're doing this because he's. If Nick Fuentes would have said that.
Clip. How did you see that clip? Where did you see that?
I know a lot of people. I know I'm new in the internet space, but I know a lot of people.
It's just that she's. Yeah, what people?
I know everybody.
Look, I don't think
I'm God's favorite. I know you don't know me yet, but I'm God's favorite.
I don't want to dog on you for being a hypocrite, but I just want to tell you.
You know, side of the internet, I didn't think was associated.
I just thought it was hypocritical what you were doing.
This is the problem. Yeah. This is the problem with Nick Fuentes.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in the same room as Trump.
So much of what he's saying is true. This is the problem. because
this is what we were talking about earlier. Like, everybody who pushes propaganda starts off with some sort of fundamental truth and then attaches a bunch of bullcrap to it.
Yes. So his talking about Jews being greedy or having values that are typically leftist and anti-family is like objectively true right now in the cultural zeitgeist. Like, it is just true. And then trying to run him off of platforms ends up looking much worse to him, and then it makes him be like, oh, there's a global conspiracy, like, stuff like that. A lot of what he's saying about crime statistics and in the Black population also true. People are very uncomfortable with it. The problem is that the leftist response to Nick, I think, where it's like, no, how dare you, and also you're stupid, and also like pearl clutching, when I wish that we could all just talk about these things.
Wait, I
have a different problem.
Hold on, wait.
Nick were allowed
you need to
on more
stigmatize those beliefs, right? Like, it should be like bad to say like anti-Semitic things. We should kind of stigmatize that.
Look.
I don't think that anti-Semitism is above anything else. If you call someone retarded, if you call someone stupid, you are allowed to be anti-Semitic. You are allowed to be, whatever.
No, that's very different.
Yeah, but the anti-Semitic is
I'm allowed to react how I want.
Anti-Semitism is not the same as being racist because it's based on conspiracy theories.
Wait, no, we're talking about a very, very small group of people who have been oppressed, who have been looked down on by cultures all across the world, who have been genocided, systemically oppressed. No, we're not saying that they are oppressed. We're saying that we don't allow this with any groups of people.
Sure.
So just to compare it to calling somebody stupid is very, very different. But if you want to compare it to like being racist against Black people, yeah, sure. Like,
it's not. It's not comparable because anti-Semitism, at least his brand of it, like so there's anti-Semitism like a lot of Black people have, where they're just like pissed that the Jewish people are like rich, like that's a comparable being racist against Black people. But the type of thing where Nick Fuentes is like, when you're a Nazi, you believe in conspiracy theories that like Jews are trying to like subvert everybody, and so it turns into QAnon shit. It turns into QAnon shit really fast, and it makes people like insane. And the thing about Nick Fuentes is he's not just like a streamer guy. The thing that makes it a different thing when it's him is he's been in the same room as fucking Trump, and he's a politician. He's trying to go to the fucking top, and he wants to actually enact like policies to like to fucking like do shit, like to make the country white, to like get rid of Black people, to fucking eugenicize people. He wants that shit.
Issues with what you're saying. First of all, we have a republic. If people want to elect certain people shouldn't be excluded from being, unless it's within the statute and or constitutional.
Sure, yeah, we don't want to become fascist in the name of not being fascist.
And
it's
then
like very weird.
The thing is, we have to if we continue to censor him as we're doing across almost every platform,
I don't think we should.
It is making it almost impossible for us to understand him, and it's allowing his audience to grow within a chamber and therefore not being challenged. And then when they are challenged, it's such a blind side to the people that they're challenging that we're not actually having an honest conversation.
But
I agree with that.
Hold on. But that's why people like me, people like Destiny, like a bunch of other people will have them on and talk to them and debate them and engage with them. Nothing. Shut up. Nothing. No.
Wait,
I should not have.
No. It's just stupid. It's just fucking stupid.
I should not have said anything. But that's why people like me.
I'm an agent of chaos.
Debate Nazis and engage with them and like have the conversations with them in good faith, but that's not the same as like giving them a massive platform. Nick Fuentes was a lot bigger when he was on YouTube. He was a lot freaking bigger when he was on YouTube.
I think that he would have been more able to have more nuanced opinion if he was having more conversations with a wider variety of people.
It was like 6 years before he got banned. It was like 6 years before he got banned. 6 years. He had 6 years to have a more nuanced opinion. He was doing it for a long time.
He's a kid.
He is a kid.
Yeah, he's very young, and he's still very, probably close to his
parents. We were all kids.
He's created this equity
burn. We weren't all freaking leaders of the biggest neo-Nazi movement.
He's very polite. Like, have you ever? I think
that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean he's a nice guy.
Charismatic. He's very charismatic.
Hitler had a wife and kids. Like
God.
I'm sure lots of people
Ted
thought
Bundy
he was
was polite
nice
too.
Hitler had some good points.
He wasn't hateful towards people that he clearly knew were black.
That's what it was.
Okay, this is the problem. This is another problem is that you don't need to be hateful to be dangerous. In fact,
I think that
people are dangerous that are not hateful. I think that Nick is dangerous in that he is so charismatic, and this is exactly. I mean, obviously, you're someone who's been affected by the Holocaust. Your bubby was, escaped the Holocaust, but when you talk about like how Hitler came to power, it was very much charisma. It was very much he at the beginning was like, I want to center the arts, families, stuff like that, and everyone was like, oh yeah, this is good stuff. And then very quickly it divulges, and if you really ask Nick what he wants to mandate that no Jewish person is in power, which is a problem. He wants to, eradicate Jewish values, which then you ask, okay, what the fuck does that mean?
I'll ask him that tomorrow on the stream. I'll ask him, do you want to prevent Jewish people from being in power? Like, is that actually, because he also says he's America first, and that would be unconstitutional. So I highly doubt that he's antithetic to the American Constitution.
Well, he thinks that Jewish values are against the Constitution.
Yeah, so that's not what you ask him. Hold on. But because that's not what you ask him, because he will put it into some sort of pragmatic view. You ask him, in like the best world, would Jews live in the United States? In the best world, if you created the world and started from scratch, would black people live in the United States? He will say no, but he'll say, well, that's not a possible dream because that's not pragmatic. So I don't advocate for that. But if he could create the world from scratch, I've asked him this before. Yes, he would make it to where Jews and black people are not in the United States.
Okay, I'm just going to plug my shit. Message me on Instagram and message me something that you want me to ask Nick, and I'll try to get some.
That's a good idea. I don't like. I just for the record, I don't think it's. I think that people should talk to people. I don't think he should be deplatformed. I just think that like someone like specifically Nick, it's like a really he's actually like a politician. So it's like it's just more serious, That's all I think.
I think he should be dominated and humiliated sexually repeatedly in public.
He's not a politician, though. Just because you've been in the same room as Trump, I've been in the same room as Trump, Hillary, and Bernie Sanders. That doesn't make me, I'm not a politician. That doesn't make you.
I think that's the goal. He does want. I think he does want to be a politician.
I think that. Yeah. I mean, maybe not. I bet it seems like it.
I don't think it's going to happen for him.
He is a personable person. He's very charismatic. He's very
funny. He's smart.
Yes, he's funny. Yes, he is
very.
He's so likable.
Yeah, sure.
That's the problem.
He is a very likable.
I'll give him that shit.
I want to fuck him.
But the shit he says that makes me want to, fuck.
Yeah, but the more there was a period of my life where I was a Richard Spencer follower, and like the main thing was I was like, dude, I went and watched his interviews. Everybody keeps calling this guy a neo-Nazi, and then I watched and listened to his videos, and all he's saying is that like white people are treated differently from black people, and that like Jews are in disproportionate positions of power and nobody will listen to them, and they deny that that's true, and we would see like compilations of people denying these things, and that's very convincing when I'm a young kid. But then eventually I grow up and realize like, oh, that's not actually the case. Like most people know Jews are in disproportionate positions of power. Most people don't actually hate white people. Most people aren't like actually doing these things, but they'll take like small slivers of like people, random teenagers on TikTok and then act like this is like Joe Biden is saying this stuff, or like it's a real problem in the United States when it's just not. And so, eventually I came out of these things because I thought the same thing. I'm like, well, they're not horrible people. They're not running around murdering black people all over the place like everybody thinks, but that's not what they want. They want real political power. They want to be liked. They want people to listen to them. And then the more they're able to be personable, the more people will start to fall into and I call it a trap. They're not like malicious in that way to where they're thinking, if I can just pretend to be a likable person, people will follow it. It's not like that, but it is a trap in a pragmatic way where if they are likable, people will start to listen to them and start to believe crazy things that they're saying.
Facts. Yeah, most people that are like evil people, they're really charismatic, right? Like,
I really don't like
every single one of them. Yeah. What's up, Zonia?
Hello, how you doing?
How's it going, Sonia?
Not
Sorry,
bad.
Lauren. Go ahead. Say what you were saying.
Yeah, no, I really don't like the advancing of an idea that is false and promotes hatred against Jews. I'm not for that. Being said, I'm also against the censorship of that idea because I think it creates more zealous advocates in that idea. And I think it creates chambers, bubbles, in which people have that idea in which they aren't getting questioned and they're not having open discourse because they get forced into, yeah, I've already said this kind of repeatedly, but you get the idea.
I think you're like a lawyer. So I think you can handle it.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
very pro First Amendment, very pro First Amendment. And
I am as well, but not when it comes to other people's property. Like, I feel like Twitter has a right to freedom of speech as well, and they should be able to decide what kind of speech they do and don't want on their platform. Same with YouTube, same with everybody else. And I think he's allowed to go make his own platform as well. And I'm happy that he's capable of going creating Cozy and having his own platform and doing what he wants there. But there's a pragmatic thing of like, you know, as much as I would love for everybody to just be able to have the open market of ideas where everybody can say what they want and that sunlight is the best disinfectant. If that was the case, like, just neo-Nazis never would have existed in the first place. But they did. And so there's always...
That doesn't mean no bad idea will ever exist just because the marketplace of ideas and sunlight
means it won't become popular. It means
I don't think that's how
or take over.
I don't think that's what the sunlight metaphor is about. I think the sunlight metaphor is about if you're able to be honest about your feelings, then you won't develop resentment towards people. That's what I thought the saying was about.
No, sunlight's the best disinfectant means if a bad idea comes to light, people will be able to push back against it and make it look bad really very quickly.
Well, I like my way better.
But like Trump got elected. Like, so I gotta run to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Lauren, if you're wondering about things to push, he brought up when he was talking to you on the podcast that he hasn't done enough research about the actual numbers of the Holocaust. And I can send you these documents. It's actually the best documented genocide
add
in
me
history.
on Discord. Anyone can add me on Discord or Instagram or whatever. I'd love to chat. Oh, you already did. Perfect.
Yeah, I'd push him on that because I think he'll look the dumbest that way.
Okay. I'll do that. It's one thing that's really annoying about the show is if you have tits, you have to give your phone over to one of the producers before the show. If
Why
you don't
only
have tits,
print it out.
Yeah, so like Nick, Destiny,
print out your tits.
Zerka, Sneeko, they all got to keep their phones, but then all the women on the panel, they had to turn over their phones.
I noticed Zerka.
Oh, you're talking about Fresh and Fit. Yeah,
he's so
if you ask
content-minded.
them for paper, they'll give you paper to write shit down, though.
He had a video on Twitter from like his perspective from his phone. It's so brilliant of an idea to have done.
Oh yeah, and then the dinner afterwards, wild. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for tomorrow. Hopefully, I prepare tonight better. I don't know.
Tell Zerka I said hi. Tell him Lav said hi.
Okay, I will not.
The way Tom told you to ask those questions, though, that would be actually the best way for you to get the answer.
I miss him. That is my.
You miss Zerka?
That's my great friend Zerka. Talk about the next time he pipes up. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy. Next time he pipes up about something, and just ask him why he tries so hard to hide his double chin with angles on streams. Ask him why he wears black to hide his gut.
Probably because he's fat.
Yeah. That is the reason why. But you know.
But didn't he lose a ton of weight? Like he lost a ton of weight.
Is that so? Coke will do that.
Yeah, wasn't he like?
Jesus.
I thought he was like more really for a while. And then he like lost a ton of weight, which is why he feels so hot. Because like he's hotter than he was.
No, it's a meme. Nothing he does is real. He just like likes attention a lot. You picked up on that.
Yeah. I mean, he's as real as his teeth.
Everything's a joke.
Yeah,
everything's a joke.
He is, dude. I remember when he got those teeth. I was like, oh my god, nay.
You know what I never understand when people get those teeth? Like, don't they like? Why is it always like straight across? Like they don't put no fucking definition in the teeth whatsoever.
Looking like George Washington.
It looks so fucking weird.
And it's so bad for your gum health. And it, like I think people who have that actually have a higher like morbidity rate. Like they're gonna die a little bit earlier than most people just because of like gum disease and because of like you get heart issues. Like it creates all sorts of infectious.
Yeah.
I think it's sexy.
Yeah, you're depraved.
Just straight?
No, I don't know. I don't fucking care.
It looks weird. Like I've seen people get it where they actually like they have like the fangs look a little longer and shit. But then like some people get it like his where they're like straight across. It looks so fucking weird.
I don't know how he paid for those teeth. He's homeless.
He's like all these
videos he's posting. He's the biggest
like,
person ever. He is the most viral person ever. What do you mean?
Yeah, he parties it up.
Literally
homeless. Have you listened to him before?
He literally begs.
He says it
money.
Himself.
I just don't know how.
I feel like he's like a professional.
Are we still talking about
surfer?
Zherka?
Apparently, yeah, we're still talking about Zherka.
He does. He spends all of his money on coke. Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
Big baller, bro. You have to admit, you have to have good money to keep up with that.
I'm pretty sure every time Zherka's name is said on the internet,
I just robbed everybody.
Grows, like he could hear it. So like, if we could just like not.
He's like a rat. He's like a rat. I love him.
Oh my god,
I love him.
he loves himself.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy when he's not trying to like play it up. He's a good guy.
I've heard this from other people. I have heard this from other people. But then last night at dinner, he ate my gyoza. And I wanted to stab him in the eyeballs with my chopsticks. So.
That is his worst offense. Forget the misogyny. Forget all of it.
Misogyny.
I don't eat or order very much. He ordered like 5 of his own dishes, and before they came,
I bet he didn't pay for it.
He saw what I ordered. Click. There's 4 pieces. He took. No. There were 6 pieces. He took 2. No, 4. No, 4, and he took 2. Yeah, 4, and he took 2.
Damn, I'm surprised he can eat with how much coke he does.
I'm not surprised.
I mean, that explains the guy.
Tom looks dead inside because we're talking about Zherka or something about his.
I love Zherka. I'm a Zherka fan.
Nope.
Number 1 Zherka fan.
I think he's funny. He's fucking funny.
I'm actually. You guys aren't even gonna see it coming. I'm gonna be the Groiper queen. I'm going to surpass Nick Fuentes.
Last time you said something was coming, we didn't see you for months after. What are you talking about?
No. Brittany from Politically Provoked is the Groiper queen right now. Okay.
No, she's not. She's an old, worn out hag.
She's the Groiper queen.
She's on the way out.
You know it.
She's on the way out, and I'm replacing her. All she does is sit there and giggle. I could lead a generation.
Yeah, that's what they want her to do. That's what Groipers want. They don't want a strong woman.
I loved you on whatever.
Mav's first thing she says when she get on here, you can't change the world. Now she's gonna lead a generation.
Just Pearly Things is a strong woman.
You can't change the world, but you can make money.
See, now you're being honest. Here we go.
That's a quote.
Smith's just memeing for the reactions. No, he says something and waits to see if people react.
No, I actually think that like if you do like follow her actions, don't follow what she says, and she's like a good role model for women. She's like a strong, independent, intelligent, like she just like
by her
says
words,
women shouldn't
not
vote.
Her actions.
Yeah. She says women shouldn't vote, but like.
Wait, who are you? Are you talking about Brittany?
Just Pearly Things.
Just Pearly Things.
Oh,
I thought you said.
I think I'm supposed to have a debate with her coming up soon.
Tell her that I love her and that I would like to have a conversation with her. I think. Have you guys ever thought that Not So Erudite is like just Pearly Things for people who think they're the smartest in the room?
Nah, you're next based.
Consider it.
Yeah,
next time you talk to Erudite.
Not even close. Not even close.
Consider it. Just consider it.
Not even close.
She doesn't.
Okay,
just Pearly Thinks has been saying women shouldn't vote.
I'll let you know.
listen, give Kyla.
What are you debating her on, Tom? I can't wait to watch that. What are you debating?
We're still talking about the topics. I'm not positive, so I don't know. I don't even know if the person who is setting it up. Here. I don't even know if the person who's setting it up wants me to talk about it, but it's a possibility that it's going to happen.
Okay.
Who are we shit talking next?
That'd be cool.
I don't even know what the point. So this is a pop one. I don't know. This is my first time popping onto the pop on.
I know at first you guys were talking about abuse or something. That's what I heard.
Yeah, no,
I was listening at first.
Like
abuse is based, by the way.
On like Wednesdays, I'll have like set up panels where like everybody's invited like a week ahead of time, and we set up all the topics and everything. But the day before, normally I'll do pop on panels where I'll invite like a couple of people to just come hang out, and we'll just talk about like whatever crap happened that week. So we talked about the Jonah Hill stuff. We talked about crazy tweets that Smith has been sending out. Talked a little bit about
those have been a little unique. Those have been a little unique on the far end of the unique spectrum.
Is there anything else that happened this week that we haven't covered just yet? Anna Kasparian.
Nick Fuentes?
So the stuff with Anna Kasparian.
Oh,
we haven't really mentioned that yet.
Brain rot stuff.
Sorry, what'd you say? What'd you say, Lauren?
I said, that man is not real. Also
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
but
yeah, that person.
You don't know what that is?
The global conspiracy that a lizard person was on that plane.
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty funny.
Oh, the plane chick. Okay, I was confused at first too. The chick was like, she was walking off the plane. She's saying the guy's not real in the back, and like fucking, she wouldn't let them take off, so they had to take the plane back, and then no one's heard from her since.
Oh yeah. And then, well, no, I thought she tweeted out and said you guys would have done the same thing if you were in my position. Right
no,
after.
She hasn't.
Did you guys listen to the guy who was sitting across from her? Like you're telling the story.
No, that guy's fake. That guy's fake. I did a whole video on him only to find out that guy's fake.
It sounded fake.
Pretty sure that woman is in a CIA black site, by the way.
Okay, but yeah, the Anna Kasparian stuff. She more and more has been coming out with like new takes that are very different than things that TYT has pushed in the past. They're like a populist progressive audience is very much not happy with the stuff that she's saying. A number of people have left. Old people have criticized them. She was very critical of Dave Rubin and the way that he left and the stuff that he said afterwards. Do you guys think that there's a big distinction between what Anna is doing now and what Dave Rubin did before? Or do you see it as like a similar trajectory?
Well, like Dave Rubin left and then shifted gears very, very suddenly. Whereas Anna is still with with TYT.
You saw the way her and Cenk were literally screaming about like trans women in sports, right? Like they've been on the trans women in sports train the entire time, and then out of nowhere, they're screaming and yelling about it, calling anybody who disagrees with them idiots. Like this is a very sudden change.
Is it really that sudden though? I feel like they were kind of starting to cast doubt about it many months ago, like 6 months ago or so.
No, about 3 months ago, there was the whole thing where Anna said that she
didn't want to be
called a birthing person. But outside of that, like there wasn't a whole lot to go off of. I didn't see anything 6 months ago about this.
It's my lead. I've infected.
Yeah, for me, I didn't see it either.
With my radical feminism.
I saw a switch like that
That's
too.
What it was.
So you think it was that sudden?
Because I do not watch.
It seemed like that to me, but maybe you saw something I didn't.
I wasn't paying attention. I just know I don't like. She's not saying anything crazy, and everybody's freaking out, and I don't understand why.
Well, it's not. Again, it has nothing to do with the fact that she's just changing her beliefs, because everybody's upset with her and Cenk, and it's weird that both of them at the same time are having radical shifts to the opposite side of a topic. On a lot of different topics, and they're not just like, you would think that this is a very delicate issue that you would handle in a very sensitive manner, right? Like, hey guys, so I know that we've like preached this to you guys and convinced you of this idea, but we've kind of changed our positions on it, and now we're kind of seeing that there's other information that we weren't aware of before. But instead, this is like me over and over yelling that Kyle Rittenhouse is completely guilty. He's a terrorist. He's this horrible murderer. He hates black people. He's a white nationalist. And then, like, out of nowhere, being like, anybody who ever said that he did anything wrong is wrong. He's a hero. He's an American treasure. Anybody who's convinced of anything different is a liar and a piece of crap. Like, this is the same kind of like difference where you're going from night to day. It's very, very
and the
different.
pendulum swinging.
I don't know. I kind of
the
feel
pendulum
like
is swinging.
I kind of feel like it was a gradual thing. Well, maybe fast paced because it was over months, but I don't know. I felt like they were softening their position on these things, and maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it was stuff I just saw more recently, and I'm having issues thinking back on it. I have been having, unfortunately, for those who don't know, I have been having some memory issues because of a new medication I have to take for the seizures and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's an anti-seizure medication, and it gives me like psychosis. Basically, Lav was right about that.
I've been covering the Young Turks for a long time.
I don't know. I felt like that it was gradual. So they shifted on this stuff like literally in the last month.
Yeah. So again, there was the start with the I don't want to be called a birthing person thing, and then a couple months later,
2 months ago, something like that.
There's about 3 months ago, and then out of nowhere, this. And so it's just very, very, like, it is a massive flip where they're going to the opposite position of what they've been saying. And they're the ones convincing their audiences of this position and then acting like their audience are a bunch of idiots for believing that position. Yeah. It's like you're the one who told them that.
I don't think it's such a massive flip. I don't really, I think it's kind of a change, I guess. I don't really know. I'm not really following, but like it's just
positions. The opposite.
I have someone in my chat saying that like he's been following forever, and he's saying Tom is exactly right. It was like the last 2 months or so, everything just flipped. Like
again, I have been an avid hater of TYT for a long time, and they're very different now.
That is weird. Then,
why would you watch them if I can't even watch them? It's so mind.
I do react content, so it's different, right? Like I'm going to react to people.
Normal,
I think
healthy people
don't. Things. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't watched them for years.
I know I see Tom actually react to them quite a bit, so I'm just gonna believe Tom because I don't watch him that much. So,
Lauren,
my first time ever watching TYT is I was dating this guy, and I was talking about politics or whatever, and he's like, well, I disagree with you, and here's why. And he turned on the TYT, and then I was like, oh, you're this dumb. So we broke up. Yeah, because he like actively watched that. Like he fell asleep to it, and I feel like that's just like a sign. I feel like I missed a lot of signs of his low IQ. Maybe I just thought he was hot, and I was like ignoring the red flags. But then just
oh no,
we've all been there.
Low IQ. Be careful. Be careful.
How hot was he?
So here's a theory. Here's a theory.
Not that hot.
I haven't watched TYT consistently for a few years. Last time I watched them consistently was probably like 2019 or something. But from just kind of without knowing a lot of recent backstory, what about it? A lot of people, they incubate these ideas in their heads. Like they have doubts more and more over time. They don't really say anything, especially when they're involved with like a wing of political community that tends to be more rabid, right, and want to cancel you if you change your views. So you could be incubating these kinds of ideas for a while and then finally kind of hit sort of a breaking point, usually because of some triggering event, like in the case of Anna, getting into a whole bunch of turmoil with her response to the birthing person's stuff, right? So I could see that might be what's actually going on. Obviously, we're going to have to do a little bit of mind reading to come up with that one, but it's a pretty common thing that people do.
It almost feels though, like if you're saying this switch was as fast as it was, do you feel like maybe they push legislation for a certain purpose, and that's why they promote what they promote, and they promote it so strongly, and then act as if
So that would make sense, but they've always been kind of grifty, like always. They've always been like people who placate to their audience and just kind of don't make sense. They're never logically consistent. But Cenk just had a recent debate with Destiny where he talked about the fact that he did not want to negotiate on anything. He didn't feel like anything should be bipartisan, that Democrats shouldn't be allowing Republicans to fit their stuff into bills, and that like they need to take harder stances against this stuff and just not let things get through. But then the other day when he's screaming and yelling about the trans athletes, he's not so much talking about it being wrong and a lot more talking about the fact that it's a losing issue and it's going to make it to where Democrats are going to lose on positions. So it's not like that's a very different narrative than what he was saying just like a couple weeks ago in the debate.
I don't think
you also have to understand that in the past 2 months, so much information has come out about like trans people in sports. Like we're documenting more trans people in sports than ever before. We're documenting more, trans politics than ever before because there's been like a spotlight on it. So it makes sense that it's changing very rapidly because very rapidly we're getting more information about these things.
Well, except that Jesse Singal's article has been out for over a year now. It was like April of 2022 when his article came out that was exploring a lot of this stuff. Though that was different. That was like with the puberty blockers stuff, and they shifted gears on that in the last month apparently. But Tom, the thing though that I see is Cenk didn't seem like he was talking about negotiating with Republicans or coalition building with Republicans. He was talking about not wanting to lose seats to Republicans by having the Democrats.
No, he literally said, I don't care about bipartisanship. I don't want anything bipartisan. Democrats should not be giving so much to Republicans. That's like almost a word for word quote.
I think he's still consistent.
No, he's talking about bills. He's talking about voting on bills. He's talking about like negotiating bills and allowing, because they were not talking about seats. They were talking about like how to get your positions or your platform into legislation.
So what? Okay, I'm a little confused then. What did he change positions on there? Because it sounded like he had the same position on that. So like, the only thing I heard him basically saying he didn't want to lose Democratic seats to Republicans because Democrats would go and buy into 100% of the demands of like trans and everything, right?
Yeah, so if your argument is this is a bad bill because it's wrong, like trans people actually, it is not fair for them to be in sports, like that's kind of all you have to do is just leave it there. But most of his speech was about it's a losing issue, it's hurting Democrats, it's making it to where they're not going to get elected. That so that
isn't consistent for him?
No, that's not like a pragmatic view of like how he's trying to like, take a very pragmatic lens on this and just say like, yes, like this is how we get things in. Whereas like bipartisanship is the pragmatic view of how you get legislation through. It's making sure that like you do negotiate some so that instead of nothing getting through, you get a little bit through. But he doesn't care about pragmatics. He cares about like being like pure and making sure that just your stuff is what happens. And being stern on what you believe in, and
he's unwilling to do coalition building for bills for legislation with Republicans. That seems inconsistent with his with where he's now talking about like we can't get all these issues through. I don't know how rationally he's thinking these things through. Honestly, I'd need to watch more of his advocacy and coverage to get a better feel of how rationally he's being or how irrational he's being.
I mean, this is mostly just from what I saw from Benny. Like what I'm talking about right here is just what I saw in Benny's video with him talking about it. It is weird with him screaming and yelling about it in the way that he did and calling people idiots over and over with a flip like they just had. Like that is just very.
I think very there's strange. I hate this particular thing. It scares me because I hope this never fucking happens to me. But I think that there's a trap here where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You're more damned if you do. But if you change your opinion, people are gonna call you like you're flipping, you're a grifter, you're a hypocrite. But then if you actually,
I'm not talking about them flipping though. I'm not talking
your,
about them changing their position. I'm talking about the way that they're engaging with them changing their positions. If I convince my audience of a position and then later yell at my audience for being idiots for believing that position, that's a really weird freaking thing to do, dude. That's weird. That's strange.
Maybe you just forgot.
It's almost like it's almost like he makes money off of like his opinions, and that he would change. Like you're like this is so weird. How
it's
weird
a guy
is
that literally his job is to yell at the audience and say
grift, right? That's the grift. But like I don't know. Like here's the thing. It's not a very good grift if it is a grift, right? Because they're going to lose a lot of money before they make a lot of money back. So yeah, sure. In the long run, they could probably turn it around and have a more conservative leaning or centrist audience. But in the near and midterm, they're going to lose a ton by holding these positions, especially so aggressively, right? So the hostility is like I agree with Tom here. The hostility is the weird part because it doesn't make any sense when you think about it. If the flip was that sudden, then it makes no sense for them to suddenly be outraged by their own audience for not accepting that sudden change in gears. And then in addition to that, if it is a grift, it makes no sense because that outrage and that hostility toward their audience in that sudden change is only going to drive more of their audience away and lose them a lot of money. And it's going to take a long time because conservatives are not really known for being very on the fence with things, right? It's hard to actually to grift to that position and really get a strong following. You might be able to play sort of like what Tim Pool does, which is like sort of like somewhere around right-leaning centrist, maybe sometimes left-leaning centrist kind of thing. But that it takes a while to build that kind of audience. I don't see this as being a very lucrative grift. I think they're going to lose a lot of money going in this direction.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like lots of people who are saying they're just doing this for money or something, like they're insane. Like
I actually think they were doing it for money before. I think that they were doing it for money before, and it seems like now because they know that they can't win with the left. They know that the left eats itself alive. That they've just decided to be like, you know what? Let's at least try to have the right opinions. So.
Yeah, that's why I say it's like it's just as much of a grift. Like if you're afraid of looking like a hypocrite because you change your mind, then you fall into a trap where now you're like you've actually changed your mind but you're afraid to talk about it, and so now you're going along the same thing. And so like if people like change their opinions, and like they've been doing this for so fucking long, so it doesn't surprise me if they've changed their opinions on some things, So.
My issue isn't them changing their opinions because the things that they're saying now are the things that I believe, right? Like the things that they're saying now are more in favor of what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
it could be a lie. You're saying they could be lying.
No, I'm not even saying that.
George Floyd world. You think about a post like Kyle Rittenhouse world. You think about a post Trump elected world. There are different needs for a political content creator now than there were for the past 5 years. So they're moving and they're aging, they're maturing, right? So there was a time where we were all in crazy mode. You had to pick a side, you had to be on the right side of history. And now we're exhausted because we've been pretending for so long. And they're probably also exhausted for pretending so long. Now they're finally like, yeah, we're just gonna go back to business as usual. You guys forget that politics for majority of our lives were like this. Majority of our lives, people were moderates. And then after Trump got elected, it went fucking crazy.
Yes, we've been talking about the fact that there was going to be the pendulum was going to swing back. Like we saw from early alt-right days and anti-SJW days, then swinging hardcore progressive and everybody being way too far left and way too crazy in that direction. And what I've been saying is I think like it's going to swing back right, but it's going to kind of even out towards the middle where like centrist has been the cringe thing. It's been the fence sitter, being a moderate is like the worst possible thing you can be. And I think that that's where like it's going to end up is being more moderate is going to make a lot more sense. The pendulum will swing again. The Overton window will move again after that. It's not going to settle there for the rest of
election season. Yeah, we're gearing up. Things are going to get crazy again, especially if Trump tries to run again. But, we forget that crazy things have been happening for the past 8 years.
Mhm.
Do you think he's gonna win in the primary?
I think I'm going to assassinate him. This is a credible threat.
Hey, whoa! No,
No, it's not.
No.
I don't think that's
No,
funny.
it is not. No, it is not. That is going to get me banned. No, it is not. That is not
Lav
funny.
is a live liar.
Secret Service.
Live
Secret
lav
Service.
liar.
Sorry.
Are
Lauren,
Thank
you
you
don't know
for
this about
doing
me.
that, Tom.
Lauren,
Thank
you
you for
don't know
doing
this
that.
about me. I'm a liar. I'm a liar. I'm not really going to do it. I'm not really going to do it.
Good.
Walking around with patches that say Tom is fair pretty
I
soon,
actually, this is a conspiracy.
Facts.
Smeth is a glowy. Smeth has been infiltrating this community, being, berserk and crazy and creepy and weird, but he's actually a fucking fed. And it's under all of our noses.
I don't know what is that what a glowy
If
is?
you
Is a
ask me-
undercover fed?
Yeah. I've never heard that term before. I was like, what? What's a glowy?
It comes from
The original term is far worse than that.
It comes from
We're not all
that guy
talking
that
about
Worse than that?
the guy that made Temple,
Temple
OS.
OS guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's worse than that. It's glow N words. Hard
Yeah.
R.
Oh,
That's the original
nice.
term.
Okay.
Well, he said that you have to use the N-word to deprogram yourself. That was what he would say.
Yeah, that was his thing.
But he's kind of right now in one way.
How's
now,
the N-word
the only way you
discourse?
can tell if you're talking in text to someone online, the only way in a few years you're going to be able to tell at all that they're not AI is if they use slurs and stuff. So you was kind of right, I guess.
It's kind of true. It's kind of true.
There was a comedian who did a whole joke on that. Yeah, about how it's bad to say the N-word, but you kind of are forced to say the N-word in order.
Lauren,
to
have
get-
you ever said the N-word?
Have I ever
Yeah.
in my life?
Yeah.
I'm sure I have. I
How
don't think
recently would you say?
I'm on camera. On camera, I don't think ever.
Good idea. Don't do it on camera ever. Good
I think
idea.
you should do it for fun.
No,
No.
you shouldn't.
Get it out just once.
That's
don't
bad
think
life
I've said-
advice, Lav.
I think I've said soft A like just a couple of times over the last week.
Oh my god.
Whoa,
Whoa, what the fuck?
So, Lav, I know you from whatever podcast. What
You don't
else
wanna
have you
know.
what else do you like to do?
You don't want to know.
Oh,
You don't
no.
want to know.
Yep, we can't get into them.
Lav is super famous, okay? Just know that, okay? Lav is super famous.
She's infamous.
I'm very beautiful, stunning, charismatic, intelligent.
Okay, let's not take this too far, Lav. Come on.
I'm a women's advocate. I'm a notable.
Okay,
I'm a
come on,
notable.
let's not take this too far, Lav.
I'm a notable. I'm a notable turf.
No, so she first popped up as like an
Anti-sex work.
anti-OnlyFans type person, then started getting into like hardcore feminist sorts of beliefs, and that's how she ended up on the whatever podcast, is to argue like more radical feminist beliefs. She recently came out with a turf video to
Manifesto, yeah.
turf manifesto. That's what I called it. I don't think that's what you called it, but
No.
Oh, okay, so you don't think that trans people should be in women's sports?
Well, I think that trans people don't exist, and I think that you should be in the you should be in the sex sport that you are. Like, sport should be sexed, and
Well,
you should adhere to them.
When you say trans people don't exist, you mean that you think that people are just their gender and that's it. However, can you acknowledge that?
their sex.
Can you acknowledge that people experience gender dysphoria?
No.
You don't think people experience gender dysphoria?
So, what do you think gender dysphoria? Here we go. I'm rolling up my
Here we
sleeves.
It's okay.
Mm,
Conservative, so I don't think that you should go through the surgery or anything like that, because I don't think that medical transitioning is the way. That being said, gender dysphoria is the idea.
Where is gender dysphoria in the brain?
in the
Well, okay,
genitals.
it's something that's been acknowledged by all of the DSM beats. So there's certain diseases.
So it's
that
female
haven't-
hysteria.
They're not in DSM 4 or 5.
So is schizophrenia.
Sure, but how do we know that gender dysphoria is going to stay in the DSM?
Well, DSM-4 is not recognized by the United States as the official, as the authority
You
You don't know
anymore.
that about
is a record is a record of noticing side effects of menstrual symptoms, of going on your menstrual cycle and going through PMS. So it's like it is at least acknowledging symptoms of something. Whereas this thing that has been studied and acknowledged and recognized for a long time as gender dysphoria has been seen in young, specifically mostly males.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow your mind right now, Lauren.
It's more trans men
gender
now.
Gender dysphoria has been studied, and the only evidence that we have relating to any proof of gender dysphoria is this thing called autogynephilia and homosexual transsexualism.
And autoandrophilia.
And autoandrophilia.
And
so
actually, right now there are more. There's been an exponential in the past few years, exponential growth in the amount of female to male transitioners, such that now the amount of female to male is actually way more than the amount of male to female.
I don't think, right, and I think that is totally brought on by societal pressure and is not genuine gender dysphoria. I think gender dysphoria is really restricted to an extremely limited number of people. Not almost 95% of the time men. They typically express feelings of desire to be in the societal roles of like being I want to be a mom. I want to be more than just being a highly effeminate man. That even with experiencing gender dysphoria at a young age, such as a 2-year-old, I still don't think that you should put puberty blockers or actually change their gender or do any physical transitions, because people who experience gender dysphoria at an early age often stop feeling gender dysphoria post puberty. So
yeah, also all gender dysphoria is societal. All gender you can't be born with it. It's how society treats so say you are maybe you hate being treated like a woman and you really love that plus the idea of having a man's body it's titillating.
That's social. That's a little bit different. So it depends. There's different ways in which that people's gender dysphoria or sex dysphoria manifests. So some people deal with it in terms of how it is that society reflects back on them. Some people don't. Some people it's more about how they see a difference between their body and a subset of the humanity's other bodies, right? So for instance, that's my I don't have an issue if people want to misgender me or something. It doesn't affect me at all. I don't even care. So it's not how society reflects back on me. It's more that I ended up growing into a body that didn't make a lot of sense to me, and it didn't look anything like my sister's and my mother's. So very different experience.
Right, but
so you're talking about one type of experience, and there's
not different. I don't think that's different.
Type.
I don't think that's necessarily. I mean, of course it's different. Everybody's experience is different. But I mean, I don't think that you and I'm not saying this to call you. I don't think you're born with gender dysphoria. I think that you develop it, and I don't think it can just go away that easy. But I think you develop it because of your parents and your environment and the way that you see your own gender and the way you see your role models and stuff like that. And I think there's a lot of complex reasons, but I think it's all societal. And I think that if we had better healthier navigation of people's identity or people ability to just be themselves, and people weren't repressed in so many ways, then they would not feel the need to do this.
I think a lot of what you're saying has to do with the new wave LGBTQ craze, especially that's hitting middle school age children. However, the gender dysphoria that has been studied for centuries now, I think is different because there was a more consistent psychological. So the DSM is just essentially a list of symptoms, and sometimes these psychological issues can be fully nature. So you're judging gender dysphoria because you think that there's no nature, it's all nature versus nurture.
You aren't born with any identity.
Wait, hold on.
Right,
listen.
you think most people all nurture, but there's plenty of psychological issues that are caused by society.
Yes, I don't know, but oh my god, my dog is being so annoying.
You're not born
that's
with
you.
PTSD.
I'm gonna kill it.
You're not born with PTSD, but PTSD is still a
Sure.
Psychological.
So everyone acknowledges that there's something wrong with transsexuals. Nobody's saying that there's anything that it's normal.
And that's dysphoria.
But we're saying that your psychosis is not anyone else's problem. So
it's real.
Like it's very real to you, just as schizophrenia is very real to schizophrenia.
I care about people with schizophrenia.
Affect society. So like you are not a woman because you don't like your penis.
Wait, but that's very different. Okay, so like how society overreacts to something, sure, that's one thing. But what, like the way that you engage with somebody, the way that you influence other people, and the effects that your actions have on another person are also your responsibility. People love to pull out like personal responsibility as a way to just like avoid being responsible for your own actions. I use this example pretty often. Like a woman, hottest woman you've ever seen, looks just like Lav, walks up to somebody, a married man, okay, she knows he's married, she knows he has kids, and she walks up to him and like opens up her trench coat and she's butt naked and she's like, I want to have sex with you. And now he has sex with this woman, ruins his marriage, like, you know, breaks up the family. It's not her responsibility to take care of his family. She didn't take vows to his wife. But it is her responsibility to not influence him in a negative way. She's still responsible for how she engages with that man. And that is still personal responsibility. So you can't say like, well, it's not my responsibility to use pronouns that I know might actually cause you some sort of distress and cause you problems and maybe even give you like at an extreme level suicidal
this conversation
ideation.
Is going to get so bogged down because like the now the disagreements would be in what's actually good and healthy for trans people, which is something that people disagree with, and so and also there's also like what asks are too much, what asks are not, like, so like of course like sure, there's nobody in their right mind would like go up to a trans person and just
hold on, Smith, hold on. So what I was responding to was somebody saying that it is not your responsibility to care about somebody else's problems. That's what I was responding to. Like that you should not have to change your actions because somebody else has a mental health issue. And I'm saying that's never true.
No, it's sometimes true. It depends on how much of an ask it is. Like if the problem is like you hate people with green eyes and I come around, it's like, sure, well, I'm sorry, I gotta tell you, like I'm not wearing contacts for you, buddy. So
yes, to an extent, but it was made as a blanket statement. And that's what I'm arguing with the argument that was made. I'm not saying that like anything is okay now. I'm saying that you can't just say, well, it's never your responsibility to change your actions for somebody else.
I don't think it's your responsibility, like strictly, but like, like people just, you're of course, like if you hate, I don't understand why like TERFs hate trans people. Like,
they don't.
Why do you have to? Well, some of them do, and it's just
no. Some
it makes the rest look really bad. Okay. Oh, there you. Yeah. Okay.
But most TERFs hate the concept of gender.
True, and I respect that.
I don't hate any like trans people as like a hegemon, right? Like I certainly hate some trans people, but not because they're trans, just because they suck.
I wonder who.
But trans people, like, Mr. so if you hate gender, like, I feel like the way I feel is that trans people, like, gender is like a virus, like a painful virus that trans people are the most affected by out of everybody. And it's like, well, like if you hate gender, you really feel bad for trans people.
Yeah, that's true, but it's how pushy they are. Like it's annoyance mixed with a hatred for the overall idea.
Yeah, internet trannies are like super pushy. Super pushy. So I can kind of agree with that, but
like I literally yesterday I was like all female Discord server and I got fucking ransacked by all these fucking moids who were like, you're a bigot, and it's like, dude, it's make your own fucking Discord. Like it's just insane. It's just ridiculous.
You go stirring shit up though, so of course you're gonna get bombarded.
Do you have? Is that your thing?
I mean, think about if I go into like a leftist server, I'm going to get bombarded because I stir shit up, right? You and I do a similar kind of shit disturbing all the time, right?
You're telling me about my behavior like I don't understand my behavior. Yes, I'm very aware that I'm
so you go still, and you poke hornets'
fact that people are still pushy. They're still pushy.
Sure, but your example was, hey, I go around poking hornets' nests, and then when I go into a server, suddenly I get bombarded by people because of all the hornets' nests I poked. Like, it's not, I don't know, not a very good example. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, like internet trans people tend to be pretty extreme, unfortunately, and I think a lot of them are oftentimes more just, calling themselves trans and getting in on, the status that they can get from it, and then being a bunch of assholes to a bunch of people who won't bend over backwards for them.
True.
I think this is silly. I think all of it is silly. I think, if we just, had a couple re-education camps.
Hello? Am I still alive?
I agree. We can clean them all up, get rid of all the diseases.
I agree. Look how good it works.
Reprogram them.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, what program did you go to, Lav? You have to set it out.
Big Tech's school for naughty girls.
Was that Facebook?
Already a fail.
Yeah, that's on Facebook. That's actually it was in a back alley.
Oh man.
No, but yeah, the trans stuff. I just don't think that trans women are women. I think that trans women are men, and they need to get help, but not in the form of affirming, but in the form of But
therapy. I think but a trans woman identifies as femininity. Oh well, no, it depends. Like I know you're gonna have, and I understand the issue you're gonna take with the sexual aspect of that. But that part of them should be affirmed. Like they should be able to wear dresses and shit. It's. Am I lagging out here? I don't think they can hear me right now. I don't even know if my stream can hear me. Huh.
To me, you can do whatever you want with your body. But you shouldn't be able to, change your sex on your ID. You shouldn't be able to enter, government-sanctioned spaces for females because they're a protected class. So,
are there states that let you change your sex on your ID?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What?
California lets you do it.
You can be sex.
Well, that's a little wild. Yeah.
That's wild.
You have to there's some medications that's different for males and females. How the fuck are they allowed to do that?
California engages with the entire thing in a very weird and unhealthy way. Like even their processes for even their processes for diagnosing gender dysphoria is way too it's bad. It's just not good. They end up having more detransitions than almost any other state. It's really, really not good.
Yeah, I hope all these people get helped with some re-education.
As the Jew who wants re-education camps.
Listen, I've moved over. Listen, I was radical feminist pipeline to eugenicist pipeline. You'd be surprised on how frequent.
You really care a lot about the labels and the titles and stuff, right? Self-described TERF. Radical feminists, eugenicists, the labels, the labels and the titles are super important for you, aren't they?
You gotta market yourself, baby. You gotta market yourself. You can't just walk around aimless. You can't just walk around aimless because then you become a drama channel like you, and you have 50 active viewers watching you talk shit about other streamers.
Hey, whoa, strays! Hold up, chill.
It seems you have to have a message. It seems like a great way to create sort of a synthesized way of operating. So instead of really assessing each position on its merits and looking at the data at the time, it really comes down to trying to live up to a label and sort of synthetically creating all your positions to better match that label.
I don't think she does that. I think that she's
I think she's very good at that.
I gotta be able to moderate. Everybody shut up. All right, real quick. Jimberly for $6.90 said, "Please tell Lauren that I thought her apology video with the ukulele was great, and I hope she's back touring soon. No fans on stage though." Political Academy for 420 said, "Can a man ever be a woman, or have we all lost our minds?" And no cunning linguistics. Tom, love, Extreme Dad.
Do any of you know the ukulele?
No, cunnilingus.
I don't know what the ukulele thing is. Is that a different Lauren, or I think it's a different Lauren?
That's a different person entirely. It's not.
Yeah,
I don't even think her name is Lauren. Is it? Yeah.
Does it look like me or something?
A little bit. Like,
I
not
don't.
really, but not really.
You guys are just thin white women.
Oh, that's the groomer person. Okay.
Yeah.
So their question is, can a man ever
My
be
brother in arms.
a woman? So yeah. So like he says no linguistic tricks, but it is linguistics. Like that's what you're asking. You're asking about how we use words, how we use concepts. Generally, sex is going to be different. Male and female are one thing. Man and woman are a different thing. How we identify a man is going to be based on whether or not we think he's masculine enough to be considered a man. He fits the concept of what we call manhood, and so we're going to call him a man based on that masculinity. I think that a man can become a woman. That's why we call it transitioning, is because they have transitioned from one gender to another.
Well, then what you're saying is that trans people are wrong because self-ID doesn't work with what you just said. So
no duh, self-ID is freaking stupid. It is one of the dumbest things in the world. Yeah, no duh. Trans people, whatever that means. Yes, trans people are retarded and wrong, and they're saying the dumbest things in the world, only to their detriment.
Is there like a deciding factor for you, Tom? Like, okay, like I remember when I read like a piece of your paper. Wait. I read a piece of your paper where it was talking about black people, right? And it was like you look at me and someone like me and you'd be like, oh, that's not a black person. But when I tell you my dad's black, all of a sudden you're like, okay, actually he's a black person, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, where's the deciding factor for so like if someone looks like
I got you.
The deciding factor for you would be how much bread you wear.
There's not a deciding factor, so it's a concept. So like if we talk about a chair, like we can't say like, well, what if it doesn't have 4 legs anymore? Does it stop being a chair? No, because it can have like 8 legs and wheels and it's a computer chair or something, right? So it's a very different thing, but conceptually we're going to put them in the same box. So let's say
I know, but you said it wasn't like
just listen, I'm answering your question, I promise. So let's say that there's a person walking down the road with like a dress, high heels, tights, very thin. They have like a lot of makeup on, long hair, nail polish, shaved legs, all this stuff, but they have a big old beard, right? We have things that are weighted characteristics. Some characteristics matter more than all of the others. That big old beard is going to matter more than the 10 other things that I mentioned.
You know,
so that beard is going to make you call them a man.
Couldn't you say the chromosome characteristic is like really the only characteristic that matters? And that's like,
well, that's we would separate that into sex.
My question would be like something like, okay, so like my question would be something like this, like, okay, you have someone that looks like Lauren here, okay? And then when she takes her pants off, there's a penis. Is that when the weighted characteristic adds in, or
wait, you've seen me without my pants already? Did my videos leave?
Yes.
Oh God,
that's
exactly what happened.
Oh God, the things I would do. The things I would do for access to that content.
Yes,
Jesus Christ. We got a fucking Moid here. What the fuck?
Yes, like if somebody takes their pants off, that obviously changes the way that you view them conceptually, for sure. But like you're going to so
they would be a woman until you see the penis.
Hold on.
I'm just wondering
already. Hold on, just chill, bro. I promise.
Asking for a friend.
Your question.
Just let it happen.
Let me build the building blocks, okay?
Just let him.
We have people that we call men, but they also will dress like women sometimes, and we'll call them cross-dressers, right? Or drag queens or something like that. We will say that the way that they live their life, the way that they live their life is one thing versus how they're presenting in one moment. Those are going to be 2 different things. And so we can still say that, like, yes, somebody is conceptually, generally going to look like a man, whereas like in this moment, I picture them as a woman. You can still separate those 2 things.
I've got a better way to do this. Okay, so it's like, so you got a bimodal sexual difference. We got two sexes. Okay. Then we have gender, which gender is what you're trying to figure out what people's sex is. We used to not know what the fuck chromosomes are. So gender refers to all of your secondary sex characteristics and whatever those mean in a given society. In some societies, you might wear pink if you're a girl, and that would be considered a secondary sex characteristic, like different behaviors. But you have tits.
Okay. So it's not secondary sex.
Okay. Secondary sex characteristics and
show us that again. What was
third sex character. So I'm saying like things that are not literally your sex. So whatever the fuck. I think secondary works. Secondary works fine. I'm including social traits. I'm saying that like tits, beard, like muscles, like these are not actually tell you what sex someone is, but enough of these things line up, like wearing pink, these are things that indicate what sex you are in a given culture. Okay. And the social ones are all bullshit, but they still are indicators that we use because that's how we are. Like playing with Barbies.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
gender is indicators of your
well.
sex. Yes. So when you are transgender, you actually want to indicate that you are a different sex.
Right. Well, yes, exactly. Yes. Gender is an indicator of sex.
Changing the appearance of your secondary characteristics doesn't change, which is why they're called secondary characteristics. Doesn't change the primary fact that your chromosomes really determine your sex. And I think that people have created this idea of gender. And so I guess I would agree with Lav here to distinguish these two concepts in order to make it more societally normal for
actually two separate concepts. Like they are literally two separate concepts. Like
one of them is just a shitty way one of them is a shitty way of describing
every single
sex.
Time I say like half a word, like that wearing pink is not a sex thing, right? It's not. But
it indicates what. Okay, in a given culture, we use shit like that
concept.
Okay. You go to school, in a school with uniforms, and you wear a skirt. That's going to be something that we're going to use to indicate what sex you are, and it's also something we're going to use as we're going to call that gender. So the things that are well, you got me. I was wrong. Like when I specifically said secondary sex characteristics, I meant your physical secondary sex characteristics and other things socially that we use to, which are secondary from your sex that we use to indicate what sex you are. So that is gender. And so gender is a shitty heuristic that we use to indicate at a platonic form, which is your sex.
The reason why gender has become a defining thing distinct from sex is because when you look at sex over time, the expression from people of their sex changes over time. The roles change, the styles change, the colors change. So there has to be some other way to sort of categorize beyond just sex if that's not going to remain consistent throughout time and culture and region.
Consistent. Because sex is consistent, but gender is not.
Yeah. No, well, your like physical like sex characteristics are not the social ones, like wearing pink or wearing a skirt in like a fucking school with a uniform. Those will change, but your physical properties of your body, they're always going to be consistent indicators, and you're going to have enough of those clusters. It's going to indicate the platonic form of the sex. Like you can make enough of these like these social weird like things like the pink and the dress thing, and you can make enough of these like you can try to like get surgeries to and what you're doing is you're trying to trick people about what sex you are.
Okay, here's the thing.
That's part of it.
Well, sort of.
I don't think tricking is you're being bad faith by saying tricking.
I don't think it's bad faith.
Like you're trying.
I'm being not compassionate.
No, you are because tricked adds intent into the word.
You intend to make you intend.
Okay,
yes, literally, I said it because I meant intent. I said it because I meant intent. I mean, when you are trans, you intend to make me think that you are the opposite sex. That is your intent. You're intending to trick me.
I'm saying that's bad faith. Yes.
No, it's not bad faith. It's literally true.
It's kind of like with women wearing makeup, right? There's a deception to it in a way, but it's not necessarily like a nefarious deception.
No, it's not nefarious. No.
Actually, it's super.
So I get it. Yeah. So when you say trick, it just sounds like you're saying it's nefarious, but you don't mean it in a nefarious way.
I'm saying
It has to be
tricked.
nefarious for trick to be the word. I would have to. I'm just gonna assume you're right there. It's okay. I don't want to search that up right now. It just seems stupid.
They're actually they're mind raping you.
Me?
Yeah, instead of
Grape.
trick,
Why?
it's
What?
actually a mind rape.
Grape.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is something that we
Is that
connect.
even a word?
So, listen, so hold on. So we connect sex and gender that are not necessarily connected, and that's what people are trying to say with a lot of these things. Is that like
you're trying to create a differential between the two. However, one is just describing the expression of the other. Gender is just describing the expression of sex. So you could just say the expression of sex. Societal sex. Societal
Kind of, because the point is that it's not actually related to sex all the time. Carrying a purse has nothing to do with your sex. Wearing a skirt has nothing to do with your sex. Wearing makeup has nothing to do with sex. We relate the two back to each other, but it's not actually a biological thing. And so the point is that somebody can go and do those things. So the point is that somebody can go do those things, and it's not biological, and they're not necessarily trying. No, wearing makeup is not biological. No, it is not.
Societal.
It's societal. Yes,
saying it is a societal relation to your sex. So it is a societal expression of your biological sex. However,
I should wear makeup more.
Expressed to society the opposite of your true biological sex, or you wish to, that doesn't make you actually the opposite sex.
Right, of course. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is the but that's but wait, hold on, because you interrupted me while I was saying, like, literally, like, yeah, the people are not there. So a lot of like the people who are separating these things, their entire point is that they are separate things, and that a male can do these other things, and it shouldn't have actually like represent their sex. I don't think I agree with that, because I do think a lot of these things are reinforced by sex. So like, I think it is more likely that you do something based on estrogen, testosterone. There's a lot of things that actually make you more likely to do feminine or masculine things. But when we put intent on this, like you are trying to trick somebody, a lot of people will say, no, I'm actually like perfectly happy presenting in a feminine way, and you knowing that I have a penis at the same time. Like, they have no issue with that, because they want to separate the two from one another.
I don't think that makes any sense. I think that's like a lie. Because like, I think that if you are trans, you want to like those things are indicators of your sex. The reason that you want to change the indicators is because you want.
They don't want them to be indicators, bro. I literally
they don't need to be trans. If they don't want them to be indicators, then they don't need to be trans. Which is why I just said I need to wear makeup more. I need to do more of this. I need more of this shit. I used to carry a purse all the time. I need to do that. I need to have more. I need to do this shit so I can advocate for these things to be transgressed without being.
Totally different argument as to whether or not we call them trans. It's an insanely different argument.
Yeah, hold on, Smith. Do you think like trans is sort of like the big crowning achievement? That's like the trophy to earn? Because like think of this: most transsexuals, they transition, and then they don't talk about being trans after that. They don't care about being trans. They're not really into that, and it's not really like
extremely hard to believe.
Well, you're used to seeing like political trans people, right? So it's a very different kind of thing. They genuinely identify as trans, like that's the thing they identify as, or a lot of them do. But most transsexuals don't. They transition and then boom, they're done. They're not trans anymore, and they don't talk about it. They're not interested. They generally stealth, right? They don't talk about their being that they used to be. I think
stealthing is really rare. Right? I think stealthing is really rare unless you transition really early, because it costs a lot of money and like a lot of money and resources and time to actually be able to like fully pass. And I think that's an incredibly rare achievement.
Yeah, people be saying that like trans people pass, and then it's like people like Brianna Wu. Like I don't buy into this whole passing thing.
Lav, are you incapable of not talking shit about people who aren't here? Is that like is this an addiction of yours? Do you like start getting the shakes if you don't shit talk somebody? Are you going to be shit talking Hassan next? What do you got to say about Hassan next? Let's hear what you got to say about Hassan.
If I have something to say,
who else we got?
You run a fucking drama channel. You're talking to me about this? fucking calling the kettle and an unsuccessful drama channel. Get a fucking grip, loser.
But you just shit talk people.
Oh, it's different when I do it. It's different when I do it.
Shit up about people.
I think it's more heinous that you're like a 50-year-old man doing it. Where's your family and job?
Look, Lav, you're a failed prostitute. What the fuck?
What do you mean
got
failed
no
prostitute?
Here.
I'm getting married. I have a successful career. I'm a philanthropist. I have a
I'm sure your husband is
under
happy
me.
with the fact that you're so unhinged online that you get doxxed IRL constantly, so everybody knows where the fuck you and him live.
People that get doxxed deserve it. I don't like this.
Come to my house,
going.
by the way. Pussies.
People that you start turning into like people that dox deserve it and shit like that. I'm like, no, fuck you, you're out. And like that, you're wrong now. Like you started off right, Zonia. You started off right, and then you turned into a monster.
When you don't realize that your life is more embarrassing.
You started off, Zonia. You started off correct, and you turned into a fucking monster.
Smith, she unironically, legitimately baited them. It's actually up on Kiwi Farms. She actually baited them and said, go ahead, try to find me.
Kiwi Farms.
Baited them, yeah.
Kiwi Farms Troon. 50 years old, by the way. 50 years old, by the way. No family, no job, by the way.
He doesn't even know my age.
All right, I'm muting everybody. Hold on. I'm trying to get in. You guys gotta chill. All right. We got another question. Lauren, great pair of opinions. Lav, I can smell your rotten image from here. Thank you. I don't know what the hell that. Aziom said, Lav and Smith, look up Turner's syndrome and please expound upon the non-existence of gender dysphoria. I completely disagree with the take and think it's inconsistent with reality. I'm sorry about the other one. I should not have read that. I didn't know what I was reading before. I should have read it before I actually said it out loud. That's my fault.
She handled it well. I don't know. I don't
why
agree
did you
with.
Suddenly flip on that one.
I don't agree with Lav that gender dysphoria is not real. It's absolutely real.
I don't think it's gender dysphoria. I think it's like it's literally just like body dysmorphia with like another name to make it sound more like pitiful.
Dysmorphia is real, but you can't understand gender dysmorphia.
No, I understand the concept. I understand, but it's as a philosophy, gender dysphoria doesn't make sense because there's no fixed gender.
Well, what is the philosophy there?
What do you mean? What is the philosophy?
Well, you said as a philosophy.
Hold on. There's no fixed mind state either, but we also have things like PTSD, schizophrenia, bipolar. Like we have a bunch of things that just don't fit because of the way society is. All of those things are only mental illnesses because you aren't capable of fitting into society in a normal way.
Sure, but we acknowledge that social sciences aren't an exact science until it comes to like transsexualism, and then we're like, no, this is it. Like this is binary, and you have to do this, and you have to treat it this way, and that's what I think is ridiculous.
But it's still based on society. Be based on society.
Sure.
In that extent, I think that gender dysphoria could be because I think that diagnosis in itself is inherently flawed. So I think that there's an argument to be made that gender dysphoria is a constellation of traits that could be a little bit different with one person and a little bit different than another person, but they hit enough of these dots that we call it gender dysphoria.
It also comes down to progressivism, right? So like we think that there should be a statute of behavior for like the normal person in a working society, right? Like mentally well, you need to be this mature to do this said thing, this old to do whatever. And I completely lost my train of thought. Hold on. Oh, and like gender dysphoria, the concept of like that we want to value a binary gender that like enslaves women is like really distasteful to me, and it doesn't seem like something that we should.
It's not enslaving women. It's recognizing biological men and women that we've recognized in all societies for thousands of years. And
women like to wear pink and do their nails and wear eyelashes.
I think thousands of years ago they were wearing pink and doing their nails. I think
this is what I'm saying. So this is what I'm saying. So body dysmorphia would be that you're uncomfortable with like your penis. That makes sense. Gender dysphoria implies that you are unhappy with your place in society, what your sex's role is in society, which
that's
you cannot
not what dysphoria is. That dysmorphia is where you see it differently than what it actually is. That's what dysmorphia is. Dysphoria is where you're not happy with
too
something.
big or
It's not
something.
even necessarily true. This is not a consensus, by the way. Like
we
people are
can
still
change
arguing
our
what
place in
trans is.
society. We can improve. We can better. Like we can fix our place in society. Like I think that because we have these unhealthy expectations, we're like trans people are just being thrown under the bus because the trans people. I feel they feel gender dysphoria. It's real, and their quick short-term solution, which makes sense to them, is to change their body and try to fit in. But like what they should, and I wish they would focus on, which won't make them as happy.
Like short-term solution? What?
Yeah, it is
Glenn?
to try to change
Hold on.
the society that makes them feel so bad about their place in society and feel bad.
Because it
about
harms
relative to
everyone.
that.
Because it harms everyone, not just trans people. It harms men, women, and everyone. Children.
What for them?
I'm just confused at this claim that they're supposed to value a gender binary, which doesn't make any sense to me. That's a new one for me. Where do you feel that is the case?
I just think that recognizing recognizing that there's a difference between the sexes is beneficial, because recognizing reality in general is beneficial. And however, that doesn't mean that I don't think you can be an effeminate man who engages in things in society that are typically reserved for women. That being said, with the way that the transgender movement is going thus far, we're having men invade women's spaces.
We're having men breastfeed. Like it's
they
ridiculous.
are too. That's actually. See, that's where someone asked me recently. Now, if with medical procedures, you could genuinely turn a man into an actual woman who can, with a implanted uterus and vagina.
If you learn more about that, it's horrifying. I trust me, it's really horrifying.
It's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen.
So the way that works.
So interesting is there are men who are doing things that I guess when women sometimes have trouble producing breast milk, there's a method that you could do to help lactate. And especially if you never got pregnant as a woman, like for instance, adopted mothers.
That's also weird. That's also weird. You should not be breastfeeding your adopted child. That's weird.
I don't think.
Do you think it's weird to wet nurse?
Why is that weird? Just because it's unnatural?
You're not doing that for the child.
Do you think it's weird to wet nurse?
You should not do things that are not for the child
it
and
is
only
for the
you.
child.
For the child, right?
The bond between
in what world is breastfeeding for the mom? What are you talking about?
I think it is for the mom too.
Is this an extreme conservative appeal to nature or something?
First of all, there are two things happening. So men cannot produce the same volume as women, no matter what. They cannot produce the same volume.
I thought you said
when men
about an adopted
breastfeed,
parent.
when men breastfeed,
talking about men.
It's on a lesser scale. Your child would be just as happy. First of all, breastfeed means a lot of things. To latch onto your breast and to pump the breast milk and feed it to your child in a bottle are different, and we have to specify when we're talking about that as well.
Okay.
So
I know, but
I'm talking about purely.
Parent, I thought you meant a woman that adopts a kid shouldn't breastfeed.
Yes,
her.
that is still. Why would an adopted mother breastfeed their child?
Because of the bond. Because you want to have a mother-child relationship, and you want to establish that bond. It's like when you get a puppy, and you want to you want to have bond with the puppy. You want to do very intimate things with the puppy, and you want to train. Like you're gonna miss that if you don't do it. Bye, Lauren.
I think it's okay to miss that. I think it's very weird to do that.
I think that's horrible.
It's weird to lean on. That's weird, right? I mean, this is something that's not uncommon.
Razor, when something feels wrong and weird, you can probably say like, "I don't want to do that."
That's not what Occam's razor means.
Yeah, simple answer. Yes, like the simplest answer is true. Like it makes me feel weird. We shouldn't do it.
I hate that.
I guess all those mothers, those adoptive mothers who have been doing it for decades, they shouldn't have been doing it, man.
Yeah, that's weird. It's less weird for them to do it than for a male to do it. But it's still fucking weird.
saying something is weird just because it makes you feel
Doesn't mean
weird, like
anything.
that saying, or
Yeah,
saying
you
shouldn't
just gave
do
an
something just
argument
'cause
for
it makes you feel
self-identity.
weird is like, yeah,
You just made an argument for
it's
self-identity. They feel like
Yeah.
this is, so this is.
Feels matter more than anything
Yeah,
else.
But
but- yeah, but-
I don't think
You're-
that there should be laws against breastfeeding your child. I'm just saying that it should be socially shamed for sure.
But your feelings, your feelings of disgust response, I'm sure. I don't know. I think Lav's gonna agree with this cringe thing I'm about to say, but your disgust response, that only matters for women. Men's disgust response doesn't matter. But we should listen to women's
It's not
disgust.
true. It is.
So-
No.
No. Okay.
No, just
No.
everything.
What are you basing
it's
this
just
on? I just don't even know what this means.
Everything is the whole world traumatizes Lav the whole time, so everybody has to appeal to her own personal feelings.
all right. I do have to move on. I appreciate everybody
Yeah,
jumping
I
on
gotta
tonight.
fucking
If you
go.
guys want to go around and shout yourselves out real quick, Smith.
I'm Smith. I'm Real Smith. You can find me Real Smith on everything. Be prepared because I have a 2-hour video coming up pretty soon, and you're gonna be happy about it. So let's just okay. Goodbye.
Wait a minute. Speak easy.
Yo, okay, Speakeasy, Escape with Speakeasy on YouTube, and I just do a little bit of everything. Thanks for having
Cool.
me, Tom. I
Yes,
still
sir.
think you're a simp for not responding to me in the chat, and you responded to Lav right away. So now I'm gonna
I
call
didn't
you a
see
simp
it.
again.
I saw
Nah,
her
bro.
say one thing.
I was
I saw
talking
her
to you
say
like
one
crazy.
Admit
Yeah,
it.
you
I'm
saw her
mommy.
say her first
Tom,
thing.
admit it. I'm mommy.
Yes,
Admit
I've
it.
looked at the chat like 4 or 5 times throughout this, and each time I've seen somebody and I've responded, and then I didn't see anything after. So that's it. Zonia.
Yes, Lav has dog dildos, and she has talked many times about fucking dogs and about
It's a
actually
dolphin
like
dildo.
tasting dog cum.
It's a dolphin dildo.
She is
it
an
is a dolphin
unironic dog
dildo.
fucker. There's
I
lots
would
of
fuck a
information up
dolphin.
on
I
up
would
on
fuck a
Kiwi
dolphin.
Farms.
To be fair, I
It's-
would
I
fuck
also
a
have a
dolphin.
video up about it that goes into detail about it. So yeah, she is an unironic white woman moment dog fucker.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. She's got the actual dildos, and she has openly admitted to this several times over. Said she even enjoyed the taste of dog cum. Anyways, you guys take care. You all know who I am. See you later.
Thank you, Zonia. Laugh.
I would like to clarify in this solemn moment that it is a dolphin penis, and that if given the chance, I might have sex with the dolphin.
pretty
Dogs
smart.
are a little below my pay
They're
grade,
pretty
but
smart.
for the right one, who knows? If I've had a couple of drinks in me, we meet at a bar, who knows? Who knows what would happen? None of you know what would happen. Okay, you
I
think
know,
that you're so
dolphins are pretty
big.
good
You
looking,
think that
I
you're
get it.
so big and morally superior because you wouldn't fuck a dog. Okay, you haven't been in a room. You haven't been in the right room with the right lighting with the big ol' husky. Okay.
When
gonna
women
say,
let the
depends
dog
on the
lick the
breed.
peanut butter off, it's not
We
abuse 'cause
just
they're
went
not
right
hurting the
back to
dog.
dogs. You just admitted it. I'm just leaving it on that note. You admitted it.
All
It's
right.
all good.
Okay.
Love you.
I gotta
Love
go. Y'all have a good night.
You too. Okay. Leave the puppies alone. Yeah, hot take. That meme when women let a dog lick the peanut butter off their pussy. They're not really hurting the dog, it's just fucking disgusting. I don't know. It's not really hurting the dog. So that was that. Over and out. Go get yourself a nice sleep. Get some Betty Buys, and tomorrow morning get up and do your best. And to breastfeed someone else's child. And good night. Smith heads.